Chapter 427, Ancestral Spirit Tree. The fifth ancestor remained quiet but slightly frowned. At this moment, the two corpse deacons' hands formed seals even faster and faster. Then they coughed out blood, but the blood didn't land on the coffin. It formed two blood people. The two blood people charged directly into the coffin. A large corpse floated out from the coffin, accompanied by a lot of scraping sounds. This corpse was more than 100 feet tall and was rotting. There were parts where you could see the white bones. Some giant maggots were still moving inside the body, making it look very disgusting. However, the head of the corpse kept in really good condition, especially between the eyebrows where the purple axe was very noticeable. Just at this moment, a calm voice came from the distance. "Forsaken Immortal Clan fifth ancestor, this old man Chu Yunfei is here to do battle with you." The moment this voice reached them, an earth-shattering bang came from outside the black cloud. Soon after, a powerful pressure appeared outside of the black cloud and shattered it. 10,000 feet away stood the heavenly Jade Sect's ascendant cultivator whose eyes were like lightning. Behind him was a large amount of cultivators with cold gazes and eyes filled with killing intent. The fifth ancestor's eyes became cold as he waved his right hand and said, "Kill." With that one word, all of the Forsaken Immortal Clan members charged out, and a battle began. Chu Yunfei arrived beside the coffin, hit it with his palm, and said, "Corpse Sect, you guys are courting death." The Forsaken Immortal Clan fifth ancestor reached out and pulled the giant corpse toward where the clan members were giving their offerings before Chu Yunfei's hand could land on it. With a bang, the large corpse landed on the ground, creating a shockwave that kicked up the dust on the ground. The coffin was turned to dust by Chu Yunfei's palm. The fifth ancestor quickly said, "Activate the reincarnation tree." Then he quickly charged toward Chu Yunfei and waved his hand. Black clouds quickly came and surrounded him and Chu Yunfei. There were flashes of light coming out from the inside the black cloud, as well as shock waves due to celestial spiritual energy being used. Anyone who got caught in the shock waves was immediately turned to dust. After the fifth ancestor charged out, one of the elders quickly jumped over the clan members and landed on the large corpse. He didn't seem to mind the maggots on the body as his right hand reached out and a ball of golden light the size of his fist appeared in his hand. At this moment, one of the mid-stage soul transformation cultivator's eyes lit up and he got around the person he was fighting before charging toward the person with the golden light. He shouted, "Drop that golden light." Then he waved his hand and a flying sword flew out. The eight-leaf shaman suddenly raised his head to look at the middle-aged man that was charging at him. Without any hesitation, he pressed the golden light to the giant corpse's chest. The golden light flashed as the flying sword went through the chest of the eight-leaf shaman. The eight-leaf shaman's face was deathly pale, but he continued to press the golden light into the chest of the corpse. Then he let out a laugh and wiped the wound on his chest. He licked the blood from his fingers and quickly charged out to battle the middle-aged man. The golden glow on the corpse of the giant demon clan corpse became bright and brighter. Chu Yunzi, who was fighting the fifth ancestor, frowned as he backed up and shouted, "Destroy that giant demon clan corpse." The surrounding cultivators all charged toward the corpse. However, the Forsaken Immortal Clan members threw themselves in the way as they didn't care about their lives. Some were even willing to blow themselves up to stop the cultivators from getting in. The golden glow became brighter and brighter. At this moment, the corpse of the giant demon clan corpse began to shrink. The golden light was like a plant on the earth, growing as it sucked nutrients from the ground. This process lasted for 10 breaths of time, before the giant demon clan corpse was drained of all energy and then turned to dust. Chu Yunfei charged out from the black cloud toward the golden glow. The fifth ancestor sneered inside the black cloud and didn't attempt to stop him. When Chu Yunfei arrived, the golden glow suddenly shattered and a 1,000-foot tall reincarnation tree appeared. A powerful shock wave spread from it and completely covered the entire eastern part of planet Suzaku. Zhu Yunfei's expression changed greatly as he quickly backed up. However, he was hit by the shockwave, so blood seeped out from the corner of his mouth. Fifth ancestor sneered as he charged toward Chu Yunfei. Chu Yunfei's eyes lit up as he decided to not fight again. He charged out of this place while shouting, "Retreat!" The cultivators that were fighting with the Forsaken Immortal Clan all sighed and quickly retreated. The Forsaken Immortal Clan members were about to chase when the fifth ancestor said, "Dante Chase, protect the reincarnation ancestral spirit tree." Elder Sima, who hadn't acted at all, looked at the reincarnation tree with a mysterious light in his eyes. He said, according to the deal between the two of us, where is the item? The fifth ancestor pondered a bit before pointing at his brow. Then a tattoo the size of his palm flew out from between his eyebrows. This tattoo was very complicated. Just looking at it would make your eyes spin. However, it contained a hint of a very primal and destructive power. This tattoo is one of the tattoos passed by down the ancestors. When I reached the 9-leaf stage, I completed it. With that, he waved his hand and the tattoo flew toward Elder Sima. Elder Sima's expression became serious as he slapped his bag of holding and took out a jade box. This box didn't give off spiritual energy but celestial spiritual energy, and it was covered with powerful restrictions. He carefully placed the tattoo inside the jade box before letting out a sigh of relief and putting the box in his bag. He then laughed and said, "Fifth ancestor sure is decisive. I hope the other ancestors do the same. Since my forsaken immortal clan made a promise to your corpse sect, we want T back out on our side of the agreement." The fifth ancestor coldly looked at Elder Sima. As Sima laughed, his eyes lit up, and he suddenly said, "I'll pass on a message from my corpse sect's sect master. In my corpse sect, we still have a giant demon clan corpse who once cut down many of your 9-leaf shamans. His body has already reached the mid-stage of ascendant. If you are interested, you can contact us at any time." After saying that, he didn't even wait for a response before quickly leaving. The 2 corpse deacons quickly followed, and the 3 of them disappeared from the black cloud. The same scene happened in the north, south, and west edges of the Suzaku continent as well. Unfortunately, aside from Juke-Z, who successfully destroyed the reincarnation tree in the west, the south and east failed. However, a strange scene unfolded at the northern tree. Situ-Nan's figure moved like a ghost and silently entered the black fog. No one noticed him arrive, not even the 4th ancestor who was in charge of this place. The moment the reincarnation ancestral spirit tree started growing, Situ-Nan went inside it and became like a parasite. He absorbed all of the nutrients meant for the tree, causing the very rare reincarnation ancestral spirit tree sprout to collapse. This strange scene caused all of the forsaken immortal clan members to be stunned. The furious 4th ancestor had to sacrifice tattoos to finally find Situ-Nan. Situ-Nan laughed arrogantly at the 4th ancestor and disappeared, leaving behind only a voice in the wind. "Damn, that was nasty. If I knew it was this nasty, I wouldn't have eaten it." The forsaken immortal clan 4th ancestor's hair turned white, and his eyes were so bloodshot that blood was about to drip out. He let out a roar as he charged out and chased after Situ-Nan. Situ-Nan hadn't just devoured a reincarnation tree, but an ancestral spirit. This was one of the 5 ancestral spirits that the forsaken immortal clan spent tens of thousands of years nurturing. Once an ancestral spirit has grown and then is combined with a special spell, it can call upon a spirit body from the void. The spirit body will then fuse with the ancestral spirit to create a 10-leaf shaman. However, an ancestral spirit was just devoured right under his nose. His head was filled with rage, and his anger had already reached its limit. "I'm going to kill you," the 4th ancestor shouted as he chased after Situ-Nan like crazy. Situ-Nan was escaping very quickly as he laughed. The first-generation Suzaku's method is a bit shameless, but this old man likes it. When this old man has a body, I can teach it to Wang Lin, and the 2 of us can both devour the ancestral spirits. Although I'm afraid that with Wang Lin's current cultivation level, he can withstand it. "I will kill you." A fierce roar from someone whose heart seemed to have been torn came from behind Situ-Nan. The hatred coming from the roar behind Situ-Nan couldn't be described in words. Wang Lin had already heard the roar from the distance. He immediately put away the mosquito beast and quickly flew off to the side, instead of waiting for Situ-Nan in one place. When Situ-Nan's divine sense spread out, he found Wang Lin and teleported to him. He appeared beside Wang Lin and quickly said, "You re too slow. I'll carry you. There is a crazy dog chasing after us. Once this old man has a body and has digested the power from the ancestral spirit, I'll definitely boil that little crazy dog." With that, he grabbed Wang Lin and quickly flew off. Situ-Nan's speed was very quick. In the blink of an eye, he and Wang Lin had left the Suzaku continent and were on their way to the North Pole. The forsaken immortal clan 4th ancestor seemed to have his heart set on chasing after Situ-Nan. As Situ-Nan flew, he showed no fear at all. He would often slow down to allow that 4th ancestor to catch up. This old man has devoured their ancestral spirit, And then, after I fuse with that body, I'll devour this little crazy dog too. This should reduce the recovery time by a lot. I will benefit personally and wipe out a shaman that is similar in power to an ascendant cultivator. So it can be said that I didn't forget the first generation Suzaku's kindness. Situ Nan laughed. The year of the dragon is approaching. Leo's year is coming fast, fervently shouting for the like button for the VIDEO, wishing to be drowned in happiness by the likes for the VIDEO. Chapter 42. Centipede S Poison. Some of Wang Zhuo's companions agreed, and one of them said, "This is true. Friends of the Xuandao sect, leave it to us." All of the Xuandao sect's disciples hesitated. The disciple named Liu wanted to use the elders as an excuse, but at that moment, the middle-aged man in the back lightly coughed. The disciple named Liu's face twitched. He nodded and said, "If that's the case, then we will trouble the Heng Yu sect." Wang Zhuo smiled. He turned toward Wang Lin and loudly yelled, "Junior brother Wang Lin, the job of feeding the centipede will be left to you. You need to be careful." Hearing Wang Zhuo's words, all of the Xuandao sect's disciples turned their heads to look at Wang Lin. They all had strange expressions on their faces. How could they still not understand the meaning behind it all? This Wang Lin must have offended Wang Zhuo. Among the Heng Yu sect disciples, one person laughed and said, "I was wondering who brother Wang Zhuo was talking about." As I expected, it's junior brother Wang Lin. Someone else continued, "This job is really fitting for him. With his lack of talent, it's really a waste of time for him to cultivate. There is no chance for him to compete in the exchange. There really is no one else more fitting for these chores than him. Junior brother Wang Lin, you must do your job properly and not lose the Heng Yu sect any face." Hearing the laughter, the Xuandao sect's disciples understood that not only had Wang Lin offended Wang Zhuo, but, because of his lack of talent, had also become the target of mockery among the other disciples. This kind of thing happened in every sect, so it was not a big deal. As a result, all of the Xuandao sect's disciples categorized Wang Lin as trash. The female named Zhou that was sitting next to Wang Lin frowned. She shot Wang Zhuo a disgusted look. She whispered to Wang Lin, "Junior brother Wang Lin, if I hadn't come, he wouldn't have targeted you." Wang Lin shook his head. Wang Zhuo hadn't just been targeting him for a few days. Ever since the first day they met and onwards, Wang Zhuo had always made an effort to ridicule him. The rest of the sect had looked down on him due to the fact that he got accepted by trying to commit suicide, and then became an inner disciple due to elder son. Most importantly, he was only at the R&D layer, making him the weakest among these disciples. Power was everything. Wang Lin eyed the 1,000-foot centipede that was lying on the ground. He didn't care, and pretended like he hadn't heard any of it. Not long after, Wang Zhuo assigned a few disciples to lead the Xuandao sect's disciples to their rooms to rest. The Xuandao sect's disciple with the water spirit roots, named Liu, glanced at Wang Lin before he left and gently said, "You must be brother Wang Lin. Our Xuandao sect's centipede has a wild nature. When you feed it, you mustn't get too close, or you will be injured." Wang Zhuo looked at Wang Lin with a cold smile. He didn't bother him anymore after that. Soon, everyone dispersed from outside the main hall. The female named Zhou frowned. She talked with Wang Lin for a bit more, then left. Looking at the deserted area, Wang Lin stood up and walked toward the centipede. He stopped 10 feet away from it and carefully examined the spirit beast. Upon a closer look, this 1,000-foot centipede was an enormous beast. The body was formed by many sections, and between each section were rings with thorns pointing out like countless swords. There were also faint black spots all over its body, and its head had 2 massive pincers sticking out. In addition, what attracted the most attention were the 2 long red whiskers that moved without wind, as if they were 2 very long snakes. As if it knew Wang Lin was looking at him, it opened and closed its eyes, giving Wang Lin a cold glance. Wang Lin immediately felt a cold sensation sweep by. Wang Lin's body felt cold, but the movement of spirit power in his body immediately dispersed the coldness. The 1,000-foot centipede revealed a surprised expression. It gave Wang Lin a deep and thoughtful look, then closed its eyes and ignored Wang Lin. Wang Lin revealed an interested expression. No wonder this was a spirit beast, it even had human-like expressions. While musing this, he left at a brisk pace for the mountains. Using his divine sense, he easily captured some small animals and came back. Along the way, Wang Lin saw some of the Xuan Dao sect's disciples being led by some senior disciples. When they saw Wang Lin with the small animals in his hands, they laughed, which drew the Xuan Dao sect's disciples' attention. One of the Xuan Dao sect's female disciples, who looked very pretty, with a face that looked so delicate, it felt as if it could be broken by a drop of water, laughed. "Junior brother, all of those small animals you caught won't be enough to feed the 1,000-foot centipede. You should go catch a large worm. Those are the centipede's favorite." One of the inner sect disciples immediately tried to suck up and said, "Junior sister Ouyang, this dumb kid is like a mute. There is no need to talk to him. You didn't know this, but he isn't qualified to cultivate." He failed all of the entrance tests, and then tried to commit suicide, which forced the elders to accept him as an honorary disciple. Wang Lin was familiar with the person who talked. He was the one that ridiculed him back during the training period, Sun Hao. Someone from the Xuan Dao sect quickly asked, "Honorary disciple? But I see him wearing red. He should be the Heng Yue sect's inner disciple." Sun Hao loudly laughed. "I'm not done yet. This kid used some lowly method to gain the favor of one of the elders and was quickly raised to an inner disciple. But even so, with his talent, he will only be laughed at for the rest of his life." Wang Lin glanced at them and left. He arrived back near the centipede and threw the small animals next to it. The moment the small beasts saw the centipede, they immediately fell to the ground, trembling in fear. The centipede opened its eyes and didn't even look at the small animals. He spat out a black gas. The moment the black gas touched the small animals, there was a sizzling sound. In a blink of an eye, the small animals turned into a pool of blood. The centipede sucked the blood into its mouth. Wang Lin took a few steps back. His eyes lit up. Centipedes typically contain poison, and these poisons were their greatest weapon. As a child, he read a book that mentioned that the poison of a centipede was related to its size. Simply said, the larger the centipede, the stronger the poison. 6,000 words in a major chapter, wishing for sharing, for likes on the video. Chapter Little Northern Flameland. The Little Northern Flameland is at the extreme north of the planet. It is where Zhuiyu used to be located. The ice here has never melted ever since cultivators came to this planet. The cold wind howls all day and the land is filled with ice. From a distance one can see a cloud of dark blue fog that would float around the area. Wherever this fog goes, everything with life will die. This cold fog is called the 9-leaf fog. This mysterious natural power only appears in extremely cold places. Aside from destroying everything, the 9-leaf fog has another effect, which is to suck in what it can absorb and slowly refine it. The Little Northern Flameland is very large. When Shui Yue was here, they could only explore 1/3 of the land before they weren't able to go in any further. So they ended up building their country on the border of this region. However, some of the powerful cultivators knew that at the center of the Little Northern Flameland was a field of red ice. The ice there wasn't cold but flames. This is a very occurrence. Fire that exists in ice forms a power that can amaze people. Thus the cultivators on planet Suzaku named this place the Little Northern Flameland. There are some ancient restrictions in this land that have existed for a long time. The 9-leaf fog is one of those. There's also the blood flame restriction. It has no effect on things without blood, but if anything with blood gets hit by the light, their blood will start boiling, and then they will die within 10 seconds. Aside from those, there is also the ice that can absorb divine sense. This ice makes divine sense constantly weaken when the two come into contact. At this moment, in the depths of the Little Northern Flameland, lied the body of a boy who was covered by the 9-leaf fog. The boy was very handsome, but he had a struggling expression. He would occasionally open his mouth to spit out a strand of black gas that would push the 9-leaf fog away. However, the moment the 9-leaf fog was pushed away, it would come back and slowly refine the boy. This boy was the demonic child that Corpse Sect head, Elder Sun Tai, had released against the giant demon clan ancestor. This demonic child was very strange. Back then, the giant demon clan ancestor's body was destroyed by it. Then the giant demon clan ancestor was forced to escape with his origin soul, and in the end used this place to trap the demonic child. If it wasn't for the fact that Sun Tai was sent away by the giant demon clan ancestor's bloodline power, then with Sun Tai controlling it, the demonic child wouldn't have been trapped. The origin of this demonic child was great. To talk about the origin of this demonic child, we first have to talk about the corpse sect. The corpse sect is a very large sect. It is not something any sect on planet Suzaku can compare to. In fact, there are branches of the corpse sect in many planets. The corpse sect is a very large organization with roots in many different cultivation planets. They are involved in the trade of bodies and collecting items of mysterious origins. Very few people know where the headquarters of the corpse sect is located because this is a secret. The structure of the corpse sect is like a tower. There are many different levels. Inside the Cultivation Alliance, the corpse sect is one of the few recognized as an official sect. Compared to all the various sects on the many cultivation planets, the corpse sect is one of the few real sects of the current era. A lot of older generation cultivators know that you can casually mess with the corpse sect. It is said that the person behind the corpse sect has some connection with the collapse of the celestial realm. However, this is only a rumor. No one knows if it's true or false. But no matter what, there is no need to question just how powerful the corpse sect is. In every corpse sect branch, there is a sect master and a head elder. The sect master is responsible for managing the affairs of the sect, while the head elder is responsible for monitoring everything. Inside the corpse sect, there is a jade containing information on more than 3,000 different kinds of bodies. Once one of those bodies are found, they can be exchanged for some heavenly treasures. The demonic child was something shunned obtained in a desolate planet. The body of this demonic child is ranked 171 in the corpse sect. It has a hidden spirit root that hasn't been determined yet. It's as a body created by nature to be possessed. When someone possesses it, it will develop a spirit root to match that person. Shunned was very happy after finding this body. He refined it for more than 1,000 years to finally create this demonic child. It even had the ability to use spells, and just the body itself was already at the mid-stage of soul transformation. The only strange thing about it was that it had to be kept inside a special formation to be nurtured and couldn't leave the formation for too long. Which was why when Shunned went to the celestial realm, he didn't bring the demonic child with him. After he came back, he retrieved it and planned to go to a nearby planet with a large corpse sect branch. He planned to exchange the body for a rank 8 soul-splitting pill to remove Zhou Yi's seal. It was at that moment that Wang Lin called for him, which was why he had the demonic child to use against the giant demon clan ancestor. On this day, in the little northern flameland, 2 rays of light traveling faster than the speed of sound flew across the sky, 2 people in the front and 1 person in the back. One of the ones in the front was wearing a white robe, and under his flowing white hair was the face of a young man. Beside this young man was a middle-aged man. His build was large and he gave off a very arrogant aura. If one looked closely, they would see that his body wasn't solid, but somewhat transparent. The last person was a white-haired old man with his teeth clenched closely as he chased after them. Wang Lin was among the 3 of them. Situnan looked back at the Forsaken Immortal clan 4th ancestor and shouted, "You read too slow, you little brat. This old man had to wait for you so many times. If you don't fly faster, this old man isn't going to wait for you." The 4th ancestor was furious. He wanted to give up many times along the way, but every time he was about to, the middle-aged man would stop to taunt him. The 4th ancestor found this very strange, but he wasn't willing to give up. He had a secret technique that he could use to take back the ancestral spirit back, but the requirement was for the ancestral spirit to not have been refined yet. This was why he kept chasing. The 3 of them were very quick. They flew to the center of the little northern flameland and entered the area of the ice flames. Wang Lin was able to immediately see the demonic child inside the red flame. Situnan's eyes lit up. He stopped, let out a laugh, and looked back at the 4th ancestor who was quickly arriving. "Before my body was destroyed, I cultivated in this place for a very long time, so I have a very deep understanding of the restrictions here." Situ revealed a reminiscent look as his hand formed a seal and pointed at the air. The ground immediately shook as a golden light began to gather, and then it flew out. Situnan laughed as he grabbed Wang Lin. Then he moved 1,000 feet away and looked at the 4th ancestor. The moment the 4th ancestor arrived, the entire sky was covered by a white light. This white light was very bright and was carrying a mysterious power which landed on the 4th ancestor's body. Red light immediately appeared under the 4th ancestor's skin. The 4th ancestor sneered. The blood flame light, his Forsaken Immortal clan was native to this planet, so they had a very good understanding of this place. He was able to immediately recognize what the white light was. He waved his right hand and a giant tattoo appeared before him. The tattoo flashed and then all of the white lights were pushed away from the fourth ancestor's body. Situ-nan exclaimed in surprise and his eyes became cold. He then moved as fast as lightning toward the fourth ancestor. The fourth ancestor suddenly raised his head toward Situ-nan and waved his hand. The tattoo before him turned into threads which attempted to trap Situ-nan. Situ-nan laughed. He didn't T-dodge, but went through these threads and directly entered the fourth ancestor's body. The fourth ancestor shouted, "Get out of there!" He slapped his forehead, and a 9-leaf plant appeared on it. The moment this plant appeared, Situ-nan came out of the fourth ancestor, released all of his aura, and shouted, "9-leaf fog!" The fog surrounding the demonic child quickly flew to Situ-nan, trapped the two of them, and dragged them toward the ice flame that the demonic child was trapped in. This happened very quickly. In almost an instant, Situ-nan and the fourth ancestor were surrounded by the fog. A pillar of ice flame formed around each of them. At this moment there were 3 pillars of ice flame inside the 9-leaf fog. Situ-nan revealed a look of joy inside the ice flame, and then mysteriously came out of it. He flew into the ice flame where the demonic child was located and entered the body. Wang Lin, this 9-leaf fog is a natural formation, and it makes the perfect protection for me. It won't take long for me to recover my cultivation. I'll come find you when I'm done. You will have to be careful of Zhuxi during this time. Don't to die before I come out. Situ-nan's voice came out from the 9-leaf fog. Wang Lin pondered a bit. He looked at the child inside the fog and asked, "You don't need me to guard you?" "No need. This 9-leaf fog is the best protection." Situ-nan's voice contained a trace of excitement. After tens of thousands of years, he would finally have a body again. Even though he had been through a lot in his life, he couldn't help but be excited. Foreign cultivators, just you all wait. Once this old man recovers his cultivation, I'll definitely find you guys for my revenge. Wang Lin raised his head to look into the distance and calmly said, "You still haven't told me what the cultivation planet crystal is." Cultivation planet crystal. Before I became the ruler of a cultivation planet, I also thought that it was some powerful treasure. However, after I became the second generation Suzaku, I found that this item was simply too vicious. Nearly 3,800 words, already quite long. Day by day people say it's short, look at others. All are 2,000 words a chapter. Leo is that long, wouldn't you cast a like for Leo's video? Chapter 429, The Secret of the Cultivation Planet Crystal. Wang Lin frowned as he waited for Situ-nan to continue. The cultivation planet crystal, it's dog farts. It is something the Cultivation Alliance created, and they give one to every single cultivation country that reaches rank 6. Planting it within the cultivation planet and activating it will cause the entire planet to be surrounded by mysterious power. From the day it opens, any living thing that is born on that planet will be missing a piece of its soul. This piece of soul is absorbed by the cultivation planet crystal, and absolute power over the crystal is given to the country by the Cultivation Alliance. Hey, a rank 6 cultivation country is like a king because of the existence of the cultivation planet crystal. With this object, any generation of Suzaku can kill any living thing on the planet unless that person or creature is one step past the ascendant stage and forcibly retrieves their piece of soul. Otherwise, there is no other way. However, my speculation is that the cultivation planet crystal isn't a secret in a lot of other planets, and people have found ways to deal with it, or else there wouldn't be so many rank 6 countries that got toppled by the people of their own planet. But in general, this cultivation planet crystal gives ultimate control of the planet to the rank 6 cultivation countries. When I became the Suzaku and found out about this, I secretly sabotaged it and sealed the cultivation planet crystal. Although the crystal can still absorb the pieces of souls, it can be used until the seal is broken. This is why the current planet Suzaku is such a mess. Otherwise it would be as sturdy as an iron drum. Haha, all of the Suzakus after me must be hated me for this, but I just don't like that shitty crystal. Even with Wang Lin's mental strength, after he heard this, his expression couldn't help but turn ugly and his heart trembled. Wang Lin asked, in a serious tone, "So if Zhuge gets control of the cultivation planet crystal, he will only need but a thought to kill me?" Situ-nan said, "There is an item called the cultivation planet heart that is linked to the cultivation planet crystal. Only the current Suzaku has possession of it. He will have to give up some of his lifespan to activate it, and it will allow him to kill anyone. A piece of your soul is inside the crystal, so if you want to have a peaceful future when you leave the planet, you must extract your soul from the cultivation planet crystal. Then that means that what I heard about the cultivation planet crystal being able to help the G realm evolve is false. Wang Lin frowned. This matter is difficult to talk about since I don't have the G realm to study. Okay, let's talk about it all once I recover. Wang Lin, you don't have to worry too much. I am still there. Situ Nan quieted down and began his possession. Wang Lin stood still. After a long time, his eyes turned cold. How could my life be in someone else's hands? No wonder so many cultivation countries betrayed Suzaku the moment the Forsaken Immortal clan appeared. No wonder Zhu Kezi wanted to wipe out rank 5 cultivation countries that could become rank 6. So this is the reason behind it all. If Zhu Kezi could still control the cultivation planet crystal, then the situation now would not be like this. With an attack from all cultivators on the planet, the Forsaken Immortal clan would be in danger of being wiped out. If Zhu Kezi could control the cultivation planet crystal, then he could have easily taken the 1 billion soul flag from Senior Dutian rather than wait until now. Cultivation planet crystal. Na Duo had no reason to lie to me, but his tone back then was also filled with uncertainty. Wang Lin's figure disappeared from the little northern flameland. The most important thing right now is to get the cultivation planet crystal and retrieve that piece of my soul. Then I'll leave the planet to find the All-Seer. 1. With the current mess planet Suzaku is in, it is not fit for cultivating. However, I still need to make some preparations before that. The 1 billion soul flag has weakened. So I need to take another trip to the foreign battleground to capture wandering souls and see if they can be used to help replenish the soul flag. If it is possible, I'll catch a few soul devourers to use as primary souls. When I do that, the 1 billion soul flag's power should recover. Also, there is that small bottle of blood from the giant demon clan ancestor. That bottle is very important to my original body, which is still on the moon. It can allow my original body to use the ancient gods' techniques. That person who was begging for help under the corpse sect in Zhao must be the giant demon clan's founding ancestor. I need to go there to see if I can get more blood. Unfortunately, the amount of spiritual energy the original body needs to reach the 4-star stage is unimaginable. I also need the aura of an adult ancient god, which will be very difficult to get. In the ancient god clan, going from 3 stars to 4 stars is a rite of passage. Once the original body makes a breakthrough, then according to the memories I inherited, it will match an ascendant cultivator. Tuo Sen inside the land of the ancient god is also a big issue. If he leaves the land of the ancient god, the first thing he will do is find me. With my current cultivation, even with my original body, I am no match for Tuo Sen. Even if Situ Nan also acted, the result would be the same. After all, Tuo Sen has inherited 2C strength, and during his peak 2C was an 8-star ancient god that could destroy a planet with his palm. Wang Lin frowned. Tuo Sen has always been a thorn in his heart. One of the reasons he wanted to quickly leave planet Suzaku was because of Tuo Sen. I must return to Chu to send Zhou home. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he turned and flew toward Chu. Along the way, the sky was almost completely covered by black clouds. The black clouds were filled with Forsaken Immortal clan members. They were using the black clouds to quickly fly toward the Suzaku continent. The more Wang Lin saw, the more sullen he became. Although he hated Zhu, he was still a cultivator. Along the way, he killed countless Forsaken Immortal clan members. Unfortunately, there were simply too many, so he had to give up and keep himself hidden as he flew toward Chu. Almost all rank cultivation countries had either been destroyed or fallen under the Forsaken Immortal clan's control. All of the Forsaken Immortal clan members were gathered on the Suzaku continent when the second battle with the country of Suzaku began. During the journey to the Suzaku continent, the Forsaken Immortal clan attacked everyone on the way. A large number of rank cultivation countries had fallen in their wake. The entire planet was covered in blood. Less and less cultivators were appearing in the sky of planet Suzaku, and the black clouds seemed to be in the sky all the time. The attack the Forsaken Immortal clan has been preparing for tens of thousands of years finally exploded in full force on planet Suzaku. The country of Suzaku immediately began their fierce counterattack the moment the second battle began. Qianfeng was appointed the leader of this battle, so all cultivators had to listen to his orders. Large amounts of cultivators were sent to various places to fight the forsaken immortal clan. Every rank cultivation country became a battleground. The entire planet was trembling and was about to collapse from this war. However, the country of Suzaku wasn't strong enough to resist, so it kept being pushed back. Almost every day a large amount of cultivators died in battle. At the same time, one shocking piece of news after another spread from cultivators who managed to escape. All of the sects from the rank 5 cultivation country of Water Inc. had switched sides. The rank 5 cultivation country of Peony had switched sides. The betrayal of 3 rank 5 cultivation countries was like 3 sucker punches to the already retreating country of Suzaku. Eventually, the country of Suzaku had to pull their line of defense back to the Suzaku continent. However, even more shocking news spread out. These news caused the hearts of every cultivator on planet Suzaku to tremble. This generation, Suzaku's junior apprentice brother, the one who lost the fight for the title of Suzaku Yunkizi, appeared. He suddenly appeared in the same battlefield as Zhukizi, and pulled off a sneak attack on him, causing Zhukizi to be gravely injured. Yunkizi's identity was the Forsaken Immortal Clan's second ancestor. Wang Lin heard this when he was returning to Chu. The shock in his heart was indescribable. He had a hunch that Yunkizi would come looking for him. However, one person found Wang Lin before Yunkizi. On this day, Wang Lin had just opened an ancient transfer array. The destination of this array was Chu. The moment he walked into the array, Wang Lin stopped and turned around to look into the distance, where he saw a burly man wearing a straw hat closing in. "Brother Wang, it has been many years since we last met. Do you still remember me?" The burly man stopped 10 feet before Wang Lin and took off his straw hat. At the eastern side of the Suzaku continent, the Heavenly Jade Sect's ascendant ancestor's expression was very ugly. Earlier he was hit by the shockwave of the ancestral spirit and was left with injuries which he was forced to suppress. Then the battle with the Forsaken Immortal clan began, so he had no time to rest before going back into battle. In the battle 3 days ago, the 5th ancestor appeared once more. During their battle, his injuries broke out, and he was forced to flee. He was heading back to the Heavenly Jade Sect because he decided that until his injuries were healed, he wouldn't be helping Zhuxi. If it comes down to it, I'll just leave this planet. With my cultivation level, I'll be a powerhouse on any cultivation planet. Seeing that the Heavenly Jade Sect was in sight, Chu Yunfei suddenly stopped and looked into the distance. A person walked over from the horizon. This person was wearing a red robe. His face was old, he gave off an ancient aura, and a powerful pressure could be felt from him. He stopped 20 feet before Chu Yunfei and stared at him. "Brother Chu, we haven't met in many years. Is everyone still fine?" Chu Yunfei's eyes became serious as he looked at the person and said, "Yunkizi." The red-robed old man raised his head, let out a sigh, and said, "So it seems Brother Chu still remembers me. Forget it. Brother Chu, I came this time to give you some advice. Leave planet Suzaku." The current Yunkizi had no trace of his previous messy self. I am renaming Tian Yunzi to All-Seer. He is the old man who agreed to accept Wang Lin as a disciple for 100 years if Wang Lin can reach his planet. The last day of June, wishing for the like button for the VIDEO. A sweep of the like button for the VIDEO each month. The June ticket expires tonight at 12. Chapter 430 Messenger. Chu Yunfei's eyes became cold, and he said, "What do you mean?" Yunkizi shook his head and said, "You should go. Your cultivation isn't a match for me and you are heavily injured. Brother Chu, don't come back for 1,000 years. Chu Yunfei's eyes became even colder as he said, "What if I don't agree?" Yunkizi let out a sigh before he waved his hand and a piece of black wood appeared. The black wood exploded into a cloud of black mist, and then there was a flash of golden light followed by the appearance of a powerful pressure. An illusionary figure appeared within the golden light. It arrived before Chu Yunfei in an instant and gently patted him. Chu Yunfei's expression immediately changed, and he quickly backed up. He waved his hand and his celestial spiritual energy quickly gathered before him. However, the palm went right through the celestial spiritual energy and pressed down upon Chu Yunfei's chest at an unimaginable speed. Chu Yunfei coughed out a mouthful of blood and quickly backed up before escaping toward the horizon. "Yunkizi, leave planet Suzaku." Chu Yunfei's voice came from the distance. It contained a hint of depression. Why did you stop me from killing him? The illusionary figure turned around and looked toward Xianxia. Xianxia calmly looked at the figure and said, "The moment you act, Xianxia will detect it. Let us go." He and the figure both disappeared. The moment they left, the clouds turned red and slowly revealed Xianxia's figure. "Xianxia, get out!" Xianxia's face was filled with anger as he roared. His voice suddenly spread out in all directions. "Senior apprentice brother, the battle between the two of us is unavoidable. Because we were in the same sect for 1,000 years, I'll give you 3 months to recover. After that we will have our battle at the foot of Mount Suzaku." Xianxia's voice slowly came from the empty air. Xianxia took a deep breath. His expression was gloomy as he muttered, "I know your objective, Yunju. You are playing with fire." Then he disappeared. Xianxia and the figure slowly appeared somewhere in the sky above the Suzaku continent. The figure asked, "Why give him so much time? It shouldn't take that long to kill Xianxia." Xianxia looked at the figure and said, "In the Forsaken Immortal clan, including me, there are 3 9-leaf shamans, 1 10-leaf shaman, and you, an 11-leaf shaman. If all 5 of us attack together, it will not be hard to kill Xianxia. In addition, although only 2 of the ancestral spirit trees were successful, 2 more 10-leaf shamans will descend soon, so with the 7 of us, killing Xianxia will be even easier. However, Xianxia can be killed right now." The figure pondered a bit and said, "You have been among the cultivators for too long and forgot your origin. Do you still remember how many clan members were sacrificed to send you into the country of Suzaku?" Xianxia's eyes lit up and he sneered. "First ancestor, I'll tell you one more time. Don't underestimate Xianxia. Xianxia has the cultivation planet crystal, although it has been sealed by the 2nd generation Suzaku. Every Suzaku in the past tens of thousands of years has been looking for a way to break the seal. The previous Suzaku even found a weak point. With my understanding of the current Suzaku, if we kill him, he will definitely destroy the cultivation planet crystal before his death to kill every cultivator on the planet. At that moment, when such a big calamity unfolds, the Cultivation Alliance will definitely send people to deal with this. Do you think our Forsaken Immortal clan can deal with the Cultivation Alliance?" The figure remained silent. "If things had gone according to my plan, we could have nurtured a cultivator to be the next Suzaku and then continue this charade, which would allow our Forsaken Immortal clan to continue to exist. This is the best method. However, the ancestor was too eager, so he broke you all out and destroyed all of my plans." Xianxia was very gloomy. "Even my identity was forced to be revealed by all of you to prove that I am a member of the Forsaken Immortal clan. In my view, it was pointless." Xianxia slowly said, "First ancestor, if you want our clan to last, we must get our hands on the cultivation planet crystal and allow one of the people I picked to become the next Suzaku, so we can indirectly control all of the cultivators on the planet. I had already picked 4 candidates and only needed a few decades for my plan to come into fruition. The scheme I had planned for countless years was destroyed by you guys. The 2 successors Xianxia has chosen are Qianfeng and Liu Mei. That Qianfeng has learned the Suzaku tactic, so I believe that he is a body that the current Suzaku has prepared for possession. Every generation of Suzaku has tried to find a way to use possession to extend their lifespan, and I believe that this Suzaku has found a way. This is why I found my second candidate, Zixin. If Xianxia succeeded in his possession, he would be under this girl's control. Even if I were wrong and Xianxia really has been grooming Qianfeng to be the next Suzaku, when he becomes the next Suzaku, he would still be controlled by Zixin. The 3rd person I picked was Zhou Wutai. This child has the bloodline of the Green Dragon. Since the Green Dragon clan helped us in the war a long time ago, I picked him as one of the candidates. That is why I went to the 4-sect alliance, and he is what I have prepared to deal with Liu Mei. However, what is interesting is that while I was at the 4-sect alliance, I met a cultivator named Wang Lin. His talent was ordinary and there was nothing special about him, yet he was able to comprehend the life and death domain. In the heat of the moment, I made him the 4th candidate on a whim. I originally didn't pay much attention to this person, but his development later on shocked me greatly. At the Celestial Realm, he took Red Butterfly's arm. After he returned, his cultivation level skyrocketed, and he even caught the attention of Xianxia. This person also has too many secrets, and sometimes even I can see through him. Thus, in the end, I picked him as the main candidate for my plan. Even now, he is still the main candidate, and also the most crucial component of my plan. The figure pondered a bit before raising his head. He then stared coldly at Xianxia and said, "This explanation is still not enough." Xianxia's eyes, because serious, and he said, "I don't know how much the cultivation planet crystal will affect my Forsaken Immortal clan. If it does have an effect, then all of the clan members that were born since the cultivators took over will die, including you and me. Is this explanation enough?" The figure pondered again. Then he let out a sigh and said, "Who was the first candidate you picked?" Xianxia faintly smiled. "When the messenger has completed his task, and if nothing goes wrong, then my first candidate will become the next Suzaku." The figure finally asked, "Why give Xianxia 3 months?" "Because I want to wait until he activates the cultivation planet crystal. I want T act now, but when I do, I want T. Give Xianxia a chance." Outside the transfer array to Chu, Wang Lin looked at the burly man who had taken off his straw hat. Although Wang Lin's heart trembled slightly, it didn't show in his face. He smiled and said, "Long time no Brother Zhou." The burly man put the straw hat down on the side, slapped his bag of holding, and took out table with cups on it. He said, "Brother Wang, I am craving a bit of wine. Do you still have any of that wine from back then?" Wang Lin's eyes faintly lit up as he looked at the straw hat. He slapped his bag of holding, and a bottle of wine appeared in his hand. When he looked at the wine, the image of Daniu appeared in his mind. After all these years, he had less than 10 bottles of Daniu's wine left. He placed the wine on the table, sat down, poured a cup, and drank it all in one go. Zhou Wutai let out a mischievous smile as he picked up the wine, poured himself a full cup and took a sip. Then he said, "The wine is still the same as before and the person is still the same as before. But our hearts are completely different now. Although the setting is the same as before, the two of us have changed." Wang Lin pondered. He held the cup and didn't speak. "Brother Wang, aren't you curious about why I am not dead? I still remember when you took the rain cauldron from me." Zhou Wutai looked at Wang Lin with a smile that was not a smile. Wang Lin calmly said, "Rather than Red Butterfly getting it for cheap, I took it. However, even if I didn't I believe Brother Zhou had other plans anyway." Zhou Wutai laughed. He poured another cup and said, "Let's not talk about the past anymore. Brother Wang's fame on planet Suzaku has been high for these past several years. For this, I offer you a cup." With a smile on his face, Wang Lin poured himself a cup and chugged it all down. Zhou Wutai's eyes lit up and he said, "Brother Wang, I offer you a second cup to thank you for killing Li Yuanfei and sealing Shuiyu." With that, he drank his cup. After 2 cups, there was suddenly silence between the two of them. Shortly after, Zhou Wutai looked into the distance and said, "Wang Lin Sr. wants you to look for him to teach you how to truly use the Yunke hat." After seeing Zhou Wutai coming with the straw hat, he already knew that Zhou Wutai had something to do with Yunke. From what he learned, the straw hat was not something Yunke would casually give out. Wang Lin immediately understood why Zhou Wutai didn't die after seeing the straw hat. Wang Lin calmly said, "Tell Yunke I want to go looking for him." Zhou Wutai revealed a complex expression and said, "Brother Wang, you and I are both pawns in his game. Senior gave this straw hat to another person. You should know her. Her name is Xin." Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he sneered. Zhou Wutai shook his head. Then he stood up and picked up the wine. He looked slightly depressed as he said, "Brother Wang, how about giving me this half-full bottle of wine?" In dreams, Leo sees his video standing in 3rd place on the popular charts. Hoping to garner more fan support and looking for help from you all to climb even higher in the rankings this month, Chapter The Dove took over the magpie's nest. "Brother Wang, this jade contains information on Liu Mei's domain. I know that Senior has his own reasons for this, so whether you look at it or not is up to you." Zhou Wutai left with the half-full bottle of wine and left the jade. Wang Lin pondered a bit. Then he scanned the jade with his divine sense. As time passed, his expression became more and more gloomy. Liu Mei's Tao, the 1,000-change ruthless domain hidden under the thousands of different emotions, is a ruthless heart. I already noticed this back then, but if Liu Mei continues to mess with me, I do have a way of dealing with her. Wang Lin crushed the jade with his finger. He stood up, walked into the ancient transfer array, activated it, and disappeared. The country of Chu was the closest country to the Forsaken Immortal clan. There was naturally a lot of Forsaken Immortal clan members here. The Cloud Sky sect of Chu had long since fallen to the Forsaken Immortal clan. It happened the moment they emerged. All of the cultivators had tattoos imprinted on their bodies. The mortals were fortunate, and wear and tear affected much. Only the few villages too close to the Forsaken Immortal clan were hit by accident during battles. Aside from taking away the children who could cultivate, the Forsaken Immortal clan didn't kill mortals. On this day, Wang Lin walked out of a transfer array on the western side of Chu. The sky over Chu was dim. Although it was daytime, the light seemed to be completely absorbed by the black cloud. Looking at it from a distance, it was no different from night. What was really eye-catching was that plant growing out from the immortal graveyard that pierced the heavens. Looking at it from so close, it was very shocking and made one feel very small. Forsaken Immortal clan members could be seen flying across the sky with cultivators following them. The cultivators all had tattoos on their bodies and their eyes were dim. In addition to all of this, there were countless mysterious plants growing across Chu. These plants moved around in a creepy way and were growing rapidly. Chu has changed too much since Wang Lin left. The activation of the transfer array caught the attention of the Forsaken Immortal clan. Almost at the instant Wang Lin appeared, a large amount of black clouds closed in from the sky. There were 7 or 8 shamans inside the black cloud. The moment they saw Wang Lin, they began to activate their tattoo powers to attack. Wang Lin remained calm. He didn't even look at the shamans before moving his body and disappearing. When he reappeared, he was already at the village Zhou was born in. This place was completely desolate, and one of the strange plants was growing here. There was not a single living thing remaining. Wang Lin let out a sigh as he left. Wang Lin didn't go to the Cloud Sky sect because he was not a saint. If he went and removed the tattoos off the cultivators there, it would not be a good thing. It would most likely invite the Forsaken Immortal clan's wrath. Wang Lin saw many Forsaken Immortal clan members while he flew through Chu. However, most of them were at the 4-leaf stage, and very few were at the 5-leaf stage. Wang Lin originally wanted to leave this place to go to the foreign battleground to gather wandering souls, but at this moment, his heart trembled. Right now, a majority of the Forsaken Immortal clan members are concentrated on the Suzaku continent. I am afraid there aren't many left here. The last time I went there, I only got to the 3rd layer. This Forsaken Immortal clan must have a lot saved up from these past tens of thousands of years. Since I'm about to leave the planet, I should go check it out to prepare for the future. Wang Lin's eye lit up, and he suddenly turned toward the immortal graveyard. He flew very quickly, and in the blink of eye he arrived above the hole leading to the immortal graveyard. The plant's aura was even more powerful from close up. It was so large that it covered up the entire entrance to the immortal graveyard. Wang Lin looked like an inconsequential ant when he stood next to this plant. He suddenly thought of something when he looked at the giant plant. Then he waved his right hand and then hit himself. Shortly after, a ghostly light came from the plant as a 5-leaf shaman appeared from within it. He turned into a black cloud and flew off into the distance. After he left, Wang Lin reappeared. His eyes lit up and he pointed at the plant. A ray of spiritual energy shot out toward the giant plant. The moment the spiritual energy touched the plant, it collapsed into golden specks. Interesting. Wang Lin sneered as he slapped his bag of holding and took out a wood carving. He held it in his hand and whispered, "Convert!" The wood carving immediately trembled as it released a green light. The green light rapidly took form and shortly after turned into an avatar that looked just like Wang Lin. This is a spell only soul transformation cultivators can use. This spell creates an avatar from an object. When the avatar appeared, it instantly charged toward the giant plant that covered the hole. Wang Lin calmly looked at the avatar, and at the moment the avatar got close to the plant, a few black tattoos on the branches began to flash. The tattoos flashed once, and immediately turned into black threads which pierced the avatar's body. The avatar's eyes dimmed as it turned back into a wood carving and fell to the ground. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He thought that it was no wonder the Forsaken Immortal clan had left. Since they had this mysterious plant protecting their base, no normal people would be able to enter easily. Wang Lin pondered a bit, then he slapped his bag of holding and a golden soul flag appeared. This wasn't the 1 billion soul flag, but the one with the Keelan beast as the primary soul. Wang Lin had a total of 3 souls flags. One of them was the 1 billion soul flag, The other was the 1,000 soul flag with the Qilin, and the last one was a rather ordinary one. 0000 soul flag he made. He waved his soul flag and a core formation soul fragment flew out. The core formation fragment then flew toward the giant plant. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he stared at the soul fragment. However, the soul fragment managed to go through the plant without any obstruction. Even up until now, no tattoo appeared on the plant. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He took out several more soul fragments to test and all of them entered without any problem. Interesting. It cuts off spiritual energy and the carving but freely allows souls to travel through. This plant is very interesting. Wang Lin waved the soul flag and then more than 200 soul fragments along with the Qilin soul came out. With a thought, all of the soul fragments gathered around Wang Lin to form a soul fragment armor. The Qilin soul fragment formed a Qilin tattoo on his face that released a golden glow. Wang Lin then charged toward the large plant without any hesitation. This time he could feel a cold sensation sweep past his body as he went through the plant and went inside. It was a bright and glistening world inside the plant. There was black gas coming out from the immortal graveyard. This gas was being absorbed by the plant. The surroundings were completely silent. Wang Lin looked up and found that the higher up the plant he looked, the more golden glows there were. This continued on forever, and Wang Lin couldn't see the top. He could only see cave-like structures in the branches of this plant. When he looked down, Wang Lin saw the hole that he was familiar with. It was pitch black, and he could only see the black gas that was rising from below. Wang Lin pondered a bit before diving in. Wind whistled in his ears as he charged down the hole. As soon as he landed on the first layer, his body disappeared without a trace. Entering the early stage of soul transformation made Wang Lin's divine sense and teleportation range even wider. With one teleportation, he arrived at the entrance to the second layer. He scanned the entire first layer and only found several shamans who were all only around the 3-leaf stage. Wang Lin didn't stop as he directly went into the second layer. Then with another teleportation, he arrived at the third layer where he had waited with the treasure-refining pavilion elder for the reincarnation fruit to grow. This place was completely empty except for a large hole where the reincarnation tree used to grow. After looking around, Wang Lin disappeared once more. This time he reappeared outside the entrance to the fourth layer. When he appeared here, his expression slightly changed, and he quickly hid himself. Shortly after, he saw a giant face closing in toward the entrance to the fourth layer. When it got close, it turned into a 6-leaf shaman. This person was middle-aged, and most of his body was covered in tattoos. Behind him were more than a dozen cultivators with dim eyes. The 6-leaf shaman jumped into the entrance, and the cultivators behind him quickly followed. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he quietly followed behind these cultivators and entered the fourth layer. The fourth layer had more light than the earlier layers. The 6-leaf shaman turned back into a giant face, grabbed all the cultivators and flew off into the distance. Wang Lin was also grabbed along with them. Thanks to Wang Lin's cultivation level, the 6-leaf shaman didn't notice a thing. The 6-leaf shaman moved very quickly, so after one instant stick of time passed, they arrived at the center of the fourth layer. There was a reincarnation tree about 1 person thick and 30 feet tall here. However, this tree was a bit strange. Instead of branches, there was a circular light floating on top of the tree. Inside the light was a fully naked old man with a fist-sized hole in his chest. His body was covered in tattoos, and an 8-leaf plant slowly flashed on his forehead. At the same time, there was a tattoo giving off an ancient aura floating above his head. This tattoo was very complicated. One look would make you dizzy. Under the tree stood more than a dozen 6-leaf shamans. None of them were talking, and behind each of them stood more than 10 cultivators. From yesterday until now, Leo has only slept for 2 hours. Can't take it anymore. Today there's only the first watch. Leo wants to catch up on sleep. After the salon ends, the missing chapters will be compensated. Chapter 432, Ancestral Tattoo Skull. After the 6-leaf shaman Wang Lin was secretly following arrived, he turned back into a person, and at that moment, Wang Lin hid himself. With his cultivation, no one here could detect him. Only the 8-leaf shaman on the tree was powerful enough to detect Wang Lin. Wang Lin was able to see at a glance that the 8-leaf shaman was seriously injured and very weak. Just at this moment, all of the shamans around the reincarnation tree sat down in the lotus position and began to recite a complex chant. Soon, tattoos began to appear in front of each shaman and floated before them. At this moment, the cultivators behind the shamans all walked up to the foot of the reincarnation tree and sat down. There were almost 100 cultivators filling up the area. Wang Lin knew that all these cultivators had very similar cultivation levels. All of them were at the core formation stage. The moment those 100 or so cultivators sat down, all of the six-leaf shamans let out roars. The roars were loud and strange, and they caused all of the tattoos to charge toward the reincarnation tree. In the blink of an eye, the tattoos disappeared into the reincarnation tree. However, the reincarnation tree immediately trembled, and then strands of soft branches began to grow from it. The branches moved like snakes as they grew and soon began wrapping around the cultivators. In the blink of an eye, almost all of the cultivators were wrapped by the branches and dragged into the air. This scene was very weird to Wang Lin. Countless branches grew from this reincarnation tree and wrapped around the cultivators. With the movements of the branches, this reincarnation tree almost seemed alive. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Countless tattoos appeared, and after a flash of light, all of the cultivators' bodies started trembling. All of the nutrients from their bodies were being rapidly depleted. At the same time, all of the spiritual energy charged from their bodies to the tree branches like uncontrollable wild horses. After the nutrients and spiritual energy were absorbed by the tree, they were somehow converted into the mysterious energy that the eight-leaf shaman could use to heal. The wound on this person's chest slowly closed, and his aura was also gradually recovering. Wang Lin's eyes became cold, and then he suddenly moved. At the speed which none of the six-leaf shamans could detect, Wang Lin charged up and appeared next to the eight-leaf shaman. His speed was as fast as lightning. The moment he appeared, his palm smashed down on the light surrounding the eight-leaf shaman. Wang Lin's right hand released a milky white glow. This meant that he was using celestial spiritual energy. His choices were to either act or not act, and if he did act, then he would not show any mercy and would kill the enemy in one strike. The eight-leaf shaman inside the white light opened his eyes, which were filled with terror. Wang Lin's palm landed on the white light, and then an earth-shattering sound filled the fourth layer. The powerful impact caused waves of shockwaves to spread, knocking the surrounding six-leaf shamans back more than 1,000 feet. Each of them coughed out blood, and the tattoos on their bodies all became unstable. One misstep would mean their deaths. One of the six-leaf shamans shouted, after coughing out blood, "Soul transformation cultivator." The moment that person shouted, all of the other six-leaf shamans trembled and then began to escape. If it was before Wang Lin had reached the soul transformation stage, he couldn't have used such destructive power without using a treasure. The power of that palm just now was as powerful as a punch from his original body, which was a 3-star ancient god. It was because that palm contained celestial spiritual energy. The reason soul transformation cultivators are powerful and will receive respect on any cultivation planet is because of the existence of celestial spiritual energy. The light around the eight-leaf shaman shattered, causing the old man to tremble and cough out blood. Then the ancient tattoo over his head quickly descended to block the celestial spiritual energy. A powerful force surged from the tattoo, causing Wang Lin's palm to slow down for a split second. With this pause, the eight-leaf shaman let out a roar and quickly backed up. He moved as fast as a meteor to escape. "You can escape." Wang Lin's eyes became cold, and he pressed down on the reincarnation tree. Celestial spiritual energies surged into the reincarnation tree, and following a series of crackling and popping sounds, the entire reincarnation tree shattered into small pieces. The branches extending from the tree all shattered, and the 100 or so cultivators all fell down. The moment they landed, their eyes became clear and their confusion disappeared. "Leave this place." Wang Lin said this one sentence as he charged out after the eight-leaf shaman. He slapped his bag of holding and the mosquito beast appeared. The mosquito had been with Wang Lin for a long time, and it had long since gained intelligence. Without Wang Lin even needing to give it an order, the mosquito knew what its master wanted. After it appeared, the mosquito beast let out a roar and turned into a black ray of light as it chased after one of the escaping six-leaf shamans. Its large proboscis then stabbed into the head of the six-leaf shaman. The six-leaf shaman let out a miserable scream as his insides were sucked dry until he was only a bag of bones and died. After killing one, the mosquito threw away the dried-up corpse and charged after the next one. With its speed, no matter how fast those six-leaf shamans ran, they weren't faster than the mosquito. Those core formation cultivators who survived got up. One of them immediately recognized Wang Lin and shouted in excitement, "Founder!" Wang Lin turned around to look at the person who had called him founder. This person looked unfamiliar, and he didn't ask as he chased after the eight-leaf shaman. Although all of this sounds like it took place over a very long period of time, all happened in a few seconds. Wang Lin flew like lightning. Before him, the eight-leaf shaman's face was pale while he clenched his teeth and tried to escape. He was originally an eight-leaf shaman under the fifth ancestor. Even within the Forsaken Immortal clan, he had a very high position. During this war, countless cultivators died by his hand. 1 month ago, he was heavily injured by a late-stage soul transformation cultivator. After almost dying, he was sent back here to recover. However, he didn't expect a soul transformation cultivator to appear while he was recovering. As long as I can escape to the 11th floor, I'll be saved. The third ancestor was injured by Zhuge Zi while protecting an ancestral spirit. As long as I can reach the 11th floor, the third ancestor will definitely save me. The eight-leaf shaman clenched his teeth and charged toward the entrance to the fifth layer. Wang Lin chased closely after the old man. His eyes became cold as he slapped his bag of holding and took out the celestial sword. He took a deep breath and then poured celestial spiritual energy into the celestial sword. Wang Lin whispered, "Accept your death." Then he raised his right hand. The celestial sword started glowing white, and he slashed down. There was a bright glow that seemed to light up the entire fourth layer as the sword energy from the celestial sword shot out. The eight-leaf shaman's expression changed greatly. Without even looking back, he could feel the powerful aura behind him that made his hair stand up. If he wasn't injured, he could have dealt with it, but right now he was heavily injured and had almost no energy left. The old man let out a bitter roar as he suddenly turned around. His eyes were filled with madness. He looked at the incoming sword energy and hit his forehead with his palm as he shouted, "Ancestral tattoo!" The tattoo that was floating above him while he was healing and helped block that palm from Wang Lin appeared. This tattoo was very complicated and was filled with an ancient aura. Wang Lin's eyes were cold as he stopped 1,000 feet away. At the moment he stopped, the sword energy collided with the tattoo. Boom! A loud boom created a shockwave 30 feet tall that quickly spread and shaved 3 inches off the ground. Crackling sounds came from the tattoo and then it shattered. The eyes of the eight-leaf shaman slowly dimmed and his life quickly dissipated. A large amount of blood came out from the wound on the old man's chest. Although his eyes were dim, he looked at Wang Lin with a vicious gaze and asked, "Who are you?" "I want to tell you who I am." Wang Lin moved forward and appeared next to the old man. His hand formed a seal, and he placed a restriction on him. Then he waved the celestial sword, and the old man's head detached from his body. The old man's body fell to the ground. Wang Lin's right hand pointed at the head. After a while he frowned and muttered, "No soul?" At the moment he cut off the old man's head, he activated the soul-refining sect technique that could ensure the soul would stay in the skull and not dissipate. He pondered a bit as he looked at the skull. Then he waved his hand and a ghostly fire surrounded the skull. With some sizzling sounds, the old man's head was quickly refined. However, this person's skull showed no signs of melting under this flame. There seemed to be a broken black symbol engraved into the skull. This symbol was exactly the same as the ancestral tattoo the old man had just used. After pondering a bit, Wang Lin placed the skull inside his bag of holding and flew away. As he flew, he could hear sonic booms getting closer to him. The mosquito beast quickly came into view. Its mouth was stained with blood, and its eyes were glowing with a look of pleasure. After putting away the mosquito beast, Wang Lin checked the fourth layer again. After finding no more reincarnation trees, he entered the fifth layer. Aimlessly wishing for the like button for the video. Chapter 433, The Third Ancestor is Her. The fifth layer was larger than the fourth layer, and not nearly as barren. There were the algae-like plants like the ones he saw back in Chu growing here. Looking from above, there were massive patches of these green plants. The leaves on these plants moved in a mysterious pattern. If one looked at them for too long, their body would move along with the leaves. On the fifth layer, Wang Lin noticed 3 reincarnation trees, and on top of each one sat an 8-leaf shaman. All of their injuries were grave, and they were on the verge of dying. Wang Lin's eyes became cold and then he teleported toward one of them. However, just as he appeared next to the reincarnation tree, his expression changed and he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was 1,000 feet away. The algae-like plants had begun to move the moment he appeared, and then collided with each other at the spot where Wang Lin previously was. Shortly after, all of the algae plants on the 5th layer gathered together to form human figures. These figures were completely made of algae plants and gave off a strange aura. Their lower limbs were linked with the algae plants on the ground, and also moved in the same mysterious manner. In the blink of an eye, a countless number of these strange life forms appeared around Wang Lin. "Foreigner, leave this place." A genderless voice came from the mouths of these plants and echoed across the layer. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. Every one of these life forms had the cultivation of a nascent soul cultivator. He didn't have time to deal with these life forms, so he waved his hand, and the 1 billion soul flag appeared in his grasp. Wang Lin softly said, "Souls, scatter!" The souls suddenly came out one by one and surrounded the soul flag. There was a bit more than 600 million soul fragments and 26 primary souls, including Du Tian's soul, in the 1 billion soul flag. These soul fragments couldn't form a late-stage ascendant cultivator when fused together or even a mid-stage ascendant cultivator. However, they could still fuse to create an early-stage ascendant cultivator. Wang Lin knew that he had to act quickly during this trip and not waste any time, so he took out the 1 billion soul flag immediately. Wang Lin shouted, "Fuse!" 500 million soul fragments, and more than a dozen primary souls fused to create a powerful ascendant soul fragment. The moment the soul appeared, the entire 5th layer trembled. The remaining soul fragments and primary souls circled around Wang Lin while letting out ghostly wails. Wang Lin knew that this ascendant soul couldn't stay up for too long, so he shouted, "Kill!" The early-stage ascendant cultivator's eyes lit up, and he waved his hand. At this moment, all of the algae-like plants on the 5th layer disintegrated. Wang Lin didn't pause. He charged toward the reincarnation tree and pointed at it. All of the soul fragments around him charged forth to devour the reincarnation tree. The reincarnation tree immediately collapsed, and the 8-leaf shaman above it coughed out a mouthful of blood and died. This process continued as Wang Lin led the ascendant soul along with the 1 billion soul flag and swept across the 5th layer. The remaining 2 8-leaf shamans that were healing were also killed by him, had their bodies refined, and he put away their skulls. Wang Lin didn't have any goodwill toward the Forsaken Immortal clan. He quickly flew to the 6th layer, and in there he was like a demon that killed any Forsaken Immortal clan member he saw. His targets were the reincarnation trees. On the 6th layer, there were 3 reincarnation trees. Thanks to the power of the early-stage ascendant soul, the 3 people healing on the 6th layer died too. Wang Lin charged through the 7th layer, the 8th layer directly to the 10th layer. In the 10th layer, the ascendant soul collapsed into weak soul fragments. They returned to the soul flag and couldn't be called out again. The 1 billion soul flag was put away by Wang Lin. Along the way, he got to study the soul flag. Although the ascendant soul was powerful, its duration was too short and there was still a difference in power compared to a real ascendant cultivator. In addition, the damage to the soul fragments was extensive with every use. This was why Du Tian merely summoned it to scare people and not to have it fight. Along the way, including the one he killed earlier, Wang Lin killed a total of 19 8-leaf shamans. All of them were already heavily injured and died without knowing what really happened. All later layers had the mysterious plants acting as guardians like the 6th layer did. If Wang Lin didn't have the ascendant soul, he would have been stopped at the 6th layer. Even the Forsaken Immortal clan wouldn't have expected an ascendant cultivator to kill his way into their home. After all, there were only 3 ascendant cultivators on the planet excluding Yunkizi. Zhukizi was at Mount Suzaku. Chu Yunfei had been scared off the planet, and the last ascendant cultivator of the earth-shattering sect was heavily injured and currently recovering in a secret location. If there were no ascendant cultivators, then with the defenses prepared for the immortal graveyard, there would have been no problem. From the 6th layer to the 10th layer, Wang Lin had a great harvest. He didn't know what use the skulls had, but he didn't expect the Forsaken Immortal clan to have so many spirit stones stocked up. According to logic, these spirit stones were useless to the Forsaken Immortal clan. Their tattoo power came from demonic beasts, so Theseus spirit stones should be been useless to them. Although spirit stones didn't really catch Wang Lin's eyes anymore, these were currency used among cultivators, so the more the better. Along the way, Wang Lin collected a large amount of spirit stones. Even if you placed these spirit stones in a rank cultivation country's sect, they would be enough to last the sect 0,000 years. But compared to these spirit stones, the skulls of these 8-leaf shamans interested Wang Lin much more. Each one of the skulls had a unique tattoo on it, and the aura they give off matched that of a soul transformation cultivator. Wang Lin had a feeling that these skulls weren't simple and were worth far more than the spirit stones. His feeling was accurate. On planet Tianyun, these essences of people who used different types of powers than cultivators were worth a lot. The essences of members of the Forsaken Immortal clan were in their skulls. If a secret technique was used, the tattoo could be removed from the skull, allowing someone to gain its power. If one can obtain the skull of a 9-leaf shaman or higher, their value is even greater. Among the stars, there are some natives on some planets with their own mysterious powers that are very different from cultivators. These natives have caught the attention of the Cultivation Alliance. The Cultivation Alliance doesn't wipe them out but captures them in a way. They allow generations of them to grow so that they can harvest each generation and create an endless supply of these essences. To raise another race in captivity, they naturally have to be given food. Wang Lin had a total of 19 skulls. After carefully putting them away, he looked at the entrance to the 11th layer and began to hesitate. He didn't know how many layers the immortal graveyard had, and if he didn't have the ascendant soul, there would have been no way for him to get this far. He had confidence about the 11th layer. However, he had a mysterious feeling that there was something in the 11th layer calling him. Wang Lin sneered. He didn't rush down but began to set a formation. This formation was the one that Du Tian had taught him in order to counter the giant demon clan ancestor's bloodline power. It was a small transfer array. He easily placed down the formation and placed down a piece of celestial jade. Wang Lin looked toward the 11th layer. It was completely dark and had black smoke coming out of it. This was different from the other layers. Wang Lin held the celestial sword in his right hand, gathered his celestial spiritual energy, and jumped into the tunnel. This tunnel wasn't very deep, so it didn't take long for Wang Lin to exit the tunnel and enter the 11th layer. At the moment he entered, his expression became strange. The 11th layer wasn't very large, and there were channels dug out across the ground. The channels formed the shape of a tattoo, and there was red liquid flowing inside them. The thing that left an impression in Wang Lin's mind was the red tattoo formed by the channels. At the same time, a cold aura came out from the ground. This was clearly a place of extreme yin. In the center of the tattoo floated a naked woman. Her hair moved without any wind and she gave off a demonic aura. This woman's body was very voluptuous and perfect. There was no trace of tattoos on her body besides a 9-leaf plant on her forehead. She was very beautiful. Aside from the celestial corpse, the only person that Wang Lin has seen that was as beautiful as her was Liu Mei. He had never met her before, yet she gave off a familiar feeling. There was an open scroll floating above the woman, and there were 9 golden lights on the scroll that formed a circle. Strands of black gas were coming out from the scroll and entering the woman's forehead. The moment he saw the scroll, his heart trembled. The scroll looked very familiar. It looked exactly like the scroll in his bag that he still hadn't figured out how to use. At this moment, the blood tattoo suddenly glowed bright red and the woman at the center slowly opened her eyes. Her eyes were very bright. There was hint of a demonic light in her eyes, making her look very alluring. Her slightly demonic gaze would cause anyone who looked at her to enter a state of confusion. After seeing this woman's eyes, he suddenly started trembling. He finally realized why this woman looked so familiar. The celestial sword in Wang Lin's hand began to hum. The sword spirit Shu Liguo flew out from the sword and muttered, "Little sister fairy, thank you for delivering the soul fragment formed from my domain when I reincarnated into a cultivator." Wishing for the like button for the video. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 434, Do You Wish to Lie with Me? Wang Lin's expression was ugly as he silently stared at her. Shu Liguo's eyes were locked onto the woman as he left the sword and flew toward her. He muttered, "Little sister fairy, don't be scared. Your big brother Shu is coming." The woman let out a smile. Her eyes revealed a mysterious light as she raised her delicate hand and pointed at Shu Liguo's forehead. The moment her finger landed, Shu Liguo revealed a sneer and his body disappeared. Replacing him was a ray of sword energy. "Slut, your grandfather Shu has already suffered once. How could I repeat the same mistake?" The smile on the woman's face widened, and then she gently blew at the sword energy. The sword energy suddenly shattered when it was hit by her breath. This scene scared Shu Liguo so much that he immediately returned to Wang Lin and went back inside the celestial sword. Wang Lin asked, with a heavy tone, "Who are you?" The woman looked at Wang Lin and slowly said, "Among the cultivators I was called Meiji, and in the Forsaken Immortal clan I am the third ancestor." Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he slowly said, "So it is Lord Third Ancestor. Junior was rude to rush in here and will take his leave." With that, he began to back away. Ripples appeared in the woman's eyes and she said, "Don't go calling me Lord Third Ancestor. I like it better when people call me Meiji. You can leave today, but only if you are obedient." The woman pointed at the air and the tunnel leading to the 10th layer immediately sealed up. Wang Lin frowned. He coldly stared at the woman and asked, "What does senior mean?" The woman placed a finger near her mouth. Her eyes were filled with an alluring charm as she smiled. "What other meaning could I have? I just want you to experience the beauty of life. I can smell a very clean aura coming from your body. I believe that you still haven't tasted a woman yet." "Lucky me." Wang Lin's eyes became even colder, and he calmly said, "For you to be here means you are gravely injured. Lord Third Ancestor, do you recognize this item?" With that, he slapped his bag of holding and the 1,000,000,000 soul flag appeared. The soul fragments flew out along with their ghostly wails. These ghostly wails directly affected one's soul. The woman's eyes lit up. She stared at the soul flag and said, "Word for word, 1,000,000,000 soul flag." Wang Lin's left hand pointed at the celestial sword and it began to glow. Then he swung the sword and slashed at the ground. With a boom, a deep trench appeared on the ground. Wang Lin looked at the woman and said, "I only used 10% of my celestial spiritual energy in that attack. So it's a celestial treasure." The woman's eyes became cold. "Do you think you can kill me with those two treasures? If you were at full power, I would have no confidence, but I'm sure that you are heavily injured. Senior, don't force me. It won't be good for either one of us. As for today's matter, I'll leave this immortal graveyard and you can continue to heal." He had no confidence against this woman. After all, she was in existence similar to an ascendant cultivator. Even if she was injured, she would still have some methods to use. She was unlike those 8-leaf shamans that Wang Lin could easily kill with the help of the ascendant soul. The woman faintly smiled. She looked at Wang Lin like he was her lover and let out an alluring laugh. "I'm not being hard on you. I only want to experience spring with you. Why keep me outside the door? Besides, the immortal graveyard has 19 layers in total. Once you get past Big Sister here, you can find the secret of my Forsaken Immortal Clan's tattoo power. More importantly, it is guarded by the soul fragment of my Forsaken Immortal Clan's first ancestor. You have the 1,000,000,000 soul flag. Don't you want to go collect the first ancestor's soul fragment?" Wang Lin stared at her. His voice was cold as he said, "I'll give you 3 breaths of time. Whether I leave or fight depends on you." The woman let out a sigh and pointed at the air. The tunnel that had disappeared reappeared. "Since you don't want to get comfortable with me, I can only let you leave, but you must leave behind that domain soul fragment." Wang Lin backed up and calmly said, "Once I leave the immortal graveyard, I'll release it. With your power, it shouldn't be hard to capture it." With that, Wang Lin moved like lightning toward the tunnel. The woman's eyes became cold. She sneered and thought, "I want to see how you walk into the trap." However, her smile suddenly froze. She saw Wang Lin suddenly stop outside the tunnel. His hand moved, and then celestial spiritual energy surrounded him. Then formation appeared under his feet, and he disappeared. When he reappeared, he was inside the formation he had placed in the 10th layer. After he reappeared, he didn't pause and continued to escape. What a cautious little cultivator he is, really making me like him a lot. If I suck him dry, it should allow my tattoo power to recover a bit. The woman licked her lips and revealed a devious light in her eyes. If he had acted there, it would have been difficult. If he had destroyed this place, I would have had to steal my heart and kill him. That would have been a waste. Now that he has left this place, I am free to use my power to capture him and enjoy myself. No one big sister fancies can get away. She pointed at the scroll above her and said, "Capture him and bring him back here." With that, the scroll closed and disappeared. A soul transformation brat that hasn't tasted a woman yet. The woman touched her lips. Her eyes revealed a devilish gaze and she whispered, "Quickly come back, little guy." Big sister can wait anymore. Wang Lin flew every quickly with his divine sense spread out. He didn't believe that she would just let him leave, so he moved as quickly as he could and soon arrived at the second layer. He saw the tunnel to the first layer and was about to teleport there when his expression suddenly changed and he swung the celestial sword backwards. There was a scratching sound as the sword energy hit something in the air behind him. The scroll that was above the woman's head revealed its illusionary figure in the air. Wang Lin's expression was gloomy as he turned around to look at the scroll. A demonic black gas was flowing out of the scroll. The scroll slowly opened up, revealing the 10 golden purple dots that formed a circle. These dots released a mysterious power and then suddenly turned. A snake tattoo materialized from the 10 points of light and flew out. It suddenly turned into a fierce 1,000-foot-long dragon. The aura coming from this dragon was on the same level as a desolate beast. The moment it appeared, it let out a sudden roar and charged toward Wang Lin. The snake tattoo that appeared earlier was flashing on the dragon's forehead. Wang Lin swung the celestial sword. The sword energy went right through the dragon as if it wasn't real. Could it be that celestial spiritual energy is useless against it? Wang Lin was shocked. A fishy smell drifted over as the dragon charged at him. Wang Lin's hand quickly formed a seal to create a restriction. This restriction, which contained celestial spiritual energy, quickly landed on the dragon's head. Boom! With a loud bang, the dragon backed off in pain. The restriction covered the dragon's mouth like a big net, so it could longer open its mouth. The dragon growled as it charged toward Wang Lin like lightning. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he moved the celestial sword to block in front of him. The dragon smashed into the celestial sword and Wang Lin used this force to reach the tunnel to the first layer. Then he disappeared without a trace. At this moment, the 10 dots on the scroll spun once more, and a tiger tattoo appeared. It turned into a giant, 1,000-foot-long black tiger. The moment it appeared, it waved its paw and destroyed the restriction on the dragon's mouth. The dragon and tiger quickly chased after Wang Lin into the first layer. Behind them, the scroll released a demonic light and slowly followed. Just as Wang Lin arrived at the first layer, the dragon and tiger caught up. To try to trap me with a mere treasure, you have underestimated me. Wang Lin's eyes became cold. He slapped his bag of holding and an item appeared in his hand. This item was the scroll that he couldn't control even now. Seeing the same scroll as this one, Wang Lin decided to follow his gut and try this scroll out. The moment this scroll appeared, the dragon and tiger paused and didn't dare to come closer. They stopped 1,000 feet away and began to roar. Their eyes were filled with suspicion. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he held up the scroll and opened it. His scroll was completely black and only had one golden purple dot. The moment the scroll opened up, the dragon and tiger stopped roaring. They started staring at the scroll with a mysterious light in their eyes. At this moment, the scroll with the 10 golden purple dots caught up. This scene was somewhat strange. The identical scrolls were thousands of feet apart with a dragon and tiger between them. They looked at the two scrolls and their eyes were filled with confusion. At the 11th layer, the third ancestor's expression changed greatly. The tattoo beast atlas. Why does this person have my forsaken immortal clan's treasure? Could it be one that an ancestor left it outside? The woman's eyes lit up and she whispered, "Return." The moment she said that word, the scroll with the 10 dots trembled. The dragon and tiger turned into 2 rays of light and flew toward the scroll. Just at this moment, the only dot in Wang Lin's scroll flashed and appeared in the shape of a woman. One couldn't see the exact features of this woman, only her silhouette. Wishing for the like button for the video, hoping to double the likes on the video. In the meantime, everyone, throw your spare ones here. Chapter 435, The Giant Under the Corpse Sect. The woman raised her hand and called to the dragon and tiger tattoos. The two tattoos immediately trembled and then, without any hesitation, they flew to the woman. The two tattoos circled the woman as if they were very happy. Shortly after, the woman slowly returned to the scroll, and following her were the two tattoos. The third ancestor in the 11th layer immediately coughed out blood. This was an injury caused by her tattoo beasts being stolen. Her face was filled with shock. Which ancestor is this? She was willing to seal herself into the tattoo beast atlas to become a tattoo beast herself. The third ancestor took a deep breath, then she pointed at her forehead, and a 9-leaf plant appeared. Tattoo beast Altez, return! The scroll in the first layer quickly closed after the third ancestor called it and disappeared. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Without a word, he grabbed his scroll. He didn't have time to check it as he flew toward the exit. At the giant hole leading out of the immortal graveyard, Wang Lin surrounded himself with soul fragments once more to get through the tree. It was now night outside, and completely dark. The moment he came out, he disappeared once more without a trace. Wang Lin didn't return the domain soul fragment to the third ancestor. Ever since this domain soul fragment had left the third ancestor, it was its own existence and was no longer under her control. Otherwise, there would have been no way for the giant demon clan ancestor to obtain it. If the third ancestor had any control, she probably would have taken it back when she saw Wang Lin. In addition, Wang Lin could tell from their talk that she didn't care too much about this domain soul fragment. It was as if it didn't matter whether she had it or not. However, to Wang Lin, this domain soul fragment had great use. It was his ace to deal with a certain person. Zhuge was currently cultivating in the back mountain of Mount Suzaku. There was a red crystal floating before him. This crystal was shaped like a heart. It was the cultivation planet heart, which was used to control the cultivation planet crystal. Shortly after, Zhuge opened his eyes. There was a trace of madness in his eyes. This kind of gaze didn't appear on him often. Yunke, I don't hate the Forsaken Immortal clan, but my hatred for you is too great. You traitor, haha, what a good betrayal. Although I was injured when you sneak attacked me, I was excited. Xianxia, if you still have a soul, take a good look. This is the person you chose. Yunke, you and I grew up together and have similar talent. Yet why did the previous Suzaku, Xianxia, always look favorably upon you? He always had praise for you, yet to me, he was always full of abuse. He always looked at me with a cold gaze. It felt like he would have killed me if I made a single mistake. When he gave me the mysterious Suzaku formation, I was very excited and felt very grateful to him. I even forgot all the unhappiness in the past and only had one thought in my mind: give my life to planet Suzaku and become a good Suzaku. However, I never thought that Xianxia was that vicious. The mysterious Suzaku formation is a double-edged sword. Every time it is used, the origin soul suffers great damage. If it is used too much, the origin soul will never be able to recover. Even now that he is dead, I still don't understand why he did all of this. If it wasn't for the fact that I had secretly planned for many years and finally got the cultivation planet crystal from the last Suzaku when he died. I am afraid that this generation Suzaku wouldn't have been me. Xianxia, you were blind to appoint Yunke as the next Suzaku. If I had followed your order and given Yunke the cultivation planet crystal, the planet would have been taken by the Forsaken Immortal clan. Xianxia, you old fart, I didn't bury your body in the Suzaku grave but sold it to the corpse sect. That was the only way to soothe my hatred for you. Xianxia, the truth proves that I am the most suited person to be the next Suzaku. You were wrong back then, so wrong. This old man searched through the entire planet and finally found Qianfeng among your descendants. This person has the same spirit root as you, and he looks similar to you as well. Every time I see him, my hatred for you increases a bit. This old man is going to raise him and give him the mysterious Suzaku formation. Every time I see him use it, my heart will be filled with joy. This is the only way for me to repay you for what you have done to me. Yunke, you know about the existence of the cultivation planet crystal. You gave me 3 months to consider if it is worth it to destroy everything to get help from the Cultivation Alliance. Although the cultivation planet crystal was sealed by the second Suzaku, which made it so that the future Suzakus won't be able to control it, as long as the cultivation planet heart breaks. it can still cause the cultivation planet crystal to break as well. However, the price is too big, because even I have a piece of my soul inside. Once the cultivation planet crystal breaks, then even I will die. The Cultivation Alliance 1T casually get involved in matters with every cultivation planet, but that is only under the premise that the cultivation planet crystal doesn't break. The Cultivation Alliance is almost crazy about keeping the cultivation planet crystals intact. This matter is filled with mysteries, and none of the previous Suzakus could figure out why. However, one thing is for sure. Once the cultivation planet crystal shatters, the Cultivation Alliance will immediately send people to investigate. At that moment, your tiny forsaken immortal clan will die for sure. You gave me 3 months of time to let me carefully consider this because you didn't want to push me too far. Xianxia, this old man's going to play a game with you. If you can get this cultivation planet crystal before my life ends, then I have no problem giving it to you. But once you lose, this old man will have to go crazy and destroy the cultivation planet crystal to drag your forsaken immortal clan down with me. This old man can be the first Suzaku, but I can still be the last Suzaku. Don't give me the chance. The madness in Xianxia's eyes deepened and he began to laugh like crazy. To the west of the Suzaku continent was a plain. This plain was covered in thousands of simple huts. There were cultivators cultivating inside and outside the huts. Most of these cultivators were disciples of sects from rank cultivation countries. This place was the Western defense line. The 3 months of truce was a good time for them to recover. However, it didn't mean that they had dropped their guard. There was still a large number of cultivators out patrolling. The area 5,000 kilometers away from them was covered by a black cloud. That was where the Forsaken Immortal Clan's Western Assault Army was located. In the center of the cultivators' camp, there was a very lavish hut. Xianfeng sat inside it with Red Butterfly behind him. There was confusion in her eyes along with a very well-hidden sense of struggle. Xianfeng's eyes were like lightning as he stared at the black cloud in the distance. His expression was very gloomy. What is that old man thinking? Things are getting too dangerous. We might as well give up on planet Suzaku and go far away, then come back when we have the power to win. If this stalemate continues for too long, people's hearts will break. His eyes lit up, he let out a cold snort and muttered to himself, I wonder where that Sang Niu is. He dared to injure me. If I meet him, I will definitely devour his domain. Although the 1 billion soul flag is powerful, the old man gave me a treasure. Seeing how bothered the old man was, this treasure must be very powerful. With this treasure, I have a certain amount of confidence in dealing with Sang Niu's 1 billion soul flag. However, it is best not to use the treasure the old man gave me unless I have to. That old bag of bones hid his intentions well, but long ago I noticed that his attitude towards me is a bit strange. I will require Junior Apprentice Sister's help to devour Sang Niu's domain. I'll have to carefully plan this out. After I devour this person's domain and capture Junior Apprentice Sister, I'll leave this planet. The universe is large, and I can do wherever I want. Before I cared about the title of Suzaku, but now that the planet is a mess, that title is useless to me. However, before I leave, I have to kill that slut, Zixin. 1 month later, a figure appeared near the corpse sect in Zhao. This person was a young man wearing a white robe. His face gave off an ancient aura. He was Wang Lin. After leaving the immortal graveyard, Wang Lin didn't rest and used the transfer array in Chu to enter the foreign battleground. He wanted to use the wandering souls there to repair the 1 billion soul flag. Unfortunately, although he had found wandering souls, they couldn't be used to repair the 1 billion soul flag. The moment a wandering soul entered the soul flag, it would go crazy. It would either devour soul fragments to make itself stronger, or be attacked by multiple soul fragments and be destroyed. The two were natural enemies, so, like fire and water, they couldn't be mixed. As a result, using the wandering souls to repair the 1 billion soul flag was a failure. As for soul devourers, Wang Lin caught one to test, but the result was the same, so he gave up on this method and left the foreign battleground. The last thing Wang Lin needed to do was get to the giant body under the corpse sect in Zhao. This body belonged to the giant demon clan ancestor that brought the giant demon clan to planet Suzaku. Wang Lin had a giant axe in his bag of holding. This axe belonged to this founding ancestor. Wang Lin came to extract a large amount of blood from this giant demon clan ancestor, so his original body could use the blood to use the ancient gods' techniques. This was part of his preparations for leaving this place. Wang Lin had no interest in getting involved with the mess on planet Suzaku. He only wanted to get the cultivation planet crystal to retrieve that piece of his soul. Then, he will go to planet Tianyun to find the ulcer and become his disciple. He will then cultivate to the ascendant stage under a new sky. He will definitely come back to planet Suzaku in the future, but at that time, he won't be someone caught in someone else's plan. He will be like an emperor that the current Suzaku will have to look up to. And I'll definitely have a chance to see just what kind of powerful organization this cultivation alliance really is. Wang Lin took a deep breath. As he looked into the sky, his urge to leave increased. However, before leaving, although I have no way of dealing with Jukizi, I have to test his two disciples, Liu Mei and Chan Feng. Wishing for the like button for the VIDEO. Thinking nonsense. Wishing for the like button for the VIDEO. Chapter 436 Co Yidu. At the far west side of Zhao lies an extremely cold plain. Even cultivators rarely step foot there. Other than the extreme cold, this place has the 9 earth aura, something that even nascent soul cultivators don't want to touch. Anyone under the nascent soul stage will be seriously injured if they touch it. This is where the corpse sect in Zhao is located. Wang Lin's figure moved past the plain like a ghost. He could see now that this place was surrounded by a giant formation, so normal people wouldn't be able to enter at all. However, this formation was really easy to break for the current Wang Lin. He stopped somewhere on the plain, then he took a step and disappeared. He was standing on one of the formation's eyes when he disappeared. When Wang Lin reappeared, he was underground. He looked around and saw the endless tunnels and caves of the maze-like corpse sect. There were cultivators cultivating in each of the caves. These people were at various cultivation levels. Most were at the foundation establishment stage, there were a few at the core formation stage, and even fewer nascent soul cultivators. Wang Lin's divine sense spread out and the entire corpse sect appeared in his mind. He paid extra attention to the cave at the center of the corpse sect. Li Qingping was quietly cultivating at the large cave at the center of the corpse sect. There was a cloud of black fog behind him that had countless tentacles extending from it. Li Qingping was the current sect master of the corpse sect in Zhao. He had already reached the late stage of nascent soul. His outer appearance made him seem like he was around 40 years old. Although some of the hair on his head had turned white, he looked very handsome. He must have been a ladies' man when he was younger. He has been in charge of the corpse sect in Zhao for 200 years and has always been very cautious. He rarely interacted with the outside world, making the corpse sect even more mysterious in Zhao. He spent all his time in closed-door cultivation in the hopes of reaching the soul formation stage before the soul inside his corpse puppet takes him over. Once he reaches the soul formation stage, the corpse sect headquarters on planet Suzaku will have a good body prepared for him. As a result, he will be able to become a core disciple of the corpse sect, and if his performance is good, he might then get moved to the headquarters. Li Qingping, who was cultivating, didn't detect Wang Lin's divine sense at all, but the black fog behind him trembled as 2 ghostly eyes appeared within it. However, what the eyes revealed wasn't the normal calm and coldness. They were filled with fear and terror. Senior, the figure trembled and was about to speak. "You are an interesting little fellow to be able to detect my arrival with only your mid-stage soul formation cultivation." Wang Lin's voice echoed in the ears of the black fog. The black fog began to tremble even more. When Wang Lin's divine sense swept by, he felt a cold wind blow on him, causing his soul origin soul to become unstable to the point that it was on the verge of collapsing. This kind of thing only happened when he faced the elders of his sect. The black figure quickly said, with a trembling voice, "Please have mercy, Senior." The reason Junior was able to notice is because Junior's cultivation method is related to divine sense, so I just barely managed to notice. He knew that with this Senior's cultivation, even if he had his body, the Senior would be able to kill him without any problems. He guessed that this person was a soul transformation old monster. "Oh, what sect are you from?" Wang Lin sent out a message with his divine sense. "Senior, I am not a person from planet Suzaku but a disciple of the Mile sect on planet Tianyun." Junior lost his body and spent a great deal of resources to buy a body from the corpse sect, the Black Fog quickly replied, and he didn't dare to lie about anything. If you are someone from planet Tianyun, why are on planet Suzaku? Wang Lin's divine sense was cold. The Black Fog's keen perception of divine sense was really good, so he was immediately able to detect the coldness in Wang Lin's divine sense. His body trembled and he quickly answered, Senior, please don't be angry, don't be angry. If I were to recover on planet Tianyu, it would cost too much. Junior can't afford to pay that many celestial jades. So I could only choose to recover on planet Suzaku. Although it will take longer to possess, it is the best choice for Junior. Wang Lin asked, what is your name? The Black Fog quickly replied, Junior's name is Sao Yidu. The Black Fog's careful reply reminded Wang Lin of Shu Liguo. Sao Yiduo Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and his divine sense formed a giant head that reached toward the Black Fog. Sao Yiduo was terrified and immediately left Li Qingping's body. He tried dodging the hand and then said, everything Junior says is the truth, it's the truth. He had some mysterious connection with Li Qingping. Now that Sao Yiduo had moved, it shocked Li Qingping awake, and he shouted, Hoo! Ripples appeared in the air as Wang Lin walked out. The moment Wang Lin walked out, he looked coldly at Li Qingping. Just one glance caused Li Qingping's body to tremble and start soaking in cold sweat. He secretly cursed. That one glance was like a sword piercing right through his body. Even his nascent soul was frozen, and his entire body felt cold. It was as if he was completely naked and had no secrets left to hide in front of this person. Wang Lin coldly said, you shut up! Then he looked at the Black Fog that was huddled in the corner of the cave. Li Qingping inhaled a breath of cold air. He didn't dare to move an inch as cold sweat covered his forehead. Even when he met Soul Formation seniors back at headquarters, none of them even had 1/10th of the aura that this person had. Li Qingping's heart was pounding as he bitterly thought, soul transformation. It must be a soul transformation, old freak. When did this old monster get here? Wang Lin's right hand reached out and Sao Yiduo's origin soul was dragged over from the corner. This Sao Yiduo's face was filled with panic as he screamed, Senior, I am a customer of the corpse sect. If you capture me to refine a treasure, the corpse sect definitely won't let you go. Wang Lin sneered and calmly said, who said I was going to refine you into a treasure? You are not even worth it. Sao Yiduo trembled and thought that if this soul transformation cultivator wanted to capture a soul formation cultivator's soul, it would be too easy. There was no need to come looking for him. Sao Yiduo suppressed the fear in his body and carefully asked, Senior, you. Could it be that you want me to do something? Wang Lin's voice didn't contain a trace of arrogance as he calmly said, become my slave for 100 years. After 100 years, I'll gift you a soul transformation body. Do you agree? Sao Yiduo was startled. A soul transformation body was something he never thought he could obtain in his life. If he had a soul transformation body, then increasing his cultivation level to the soul transformation stage would be a lot easier. Even if he couldn't reach the soul transformation stage, all of his spells would still become a lot more powerful. It has to be said that a soul transformation body was like the body of a celestial. In the corpse sect, the cost of a soul transformation corpse was beyond imagination. Even if he had all of his lifespan, he would still need more than 1,000 years to buy half a corpse. He clenched his teeth. Senior, you have to promise that I won't die in this 100-year period. Wang Lin calmly said, as long as I don't die, you won't. Sao Yiduo quickly and respectfully said, okay, Sao Yiduo greets master. He was going to risk it all. A soul transformation cultivator had no reason to trick him. He also knew that the reason Wang Lin had thrown out such a tempting offering meant that he would be of a great use to this person. However, to get anything good, there had to be risks, and he was willing to take this risk for a soul transformation body. Very good. Don't worry, I am not asking you to do anything dangerous. I just want your knowledge about planet Tianyun. How much do you know about the planet? As Wang Lin said this, he waved his hand and Li Qingping passed out. Wang Lin didn't want others to know that he was about to go to planet Tianyun. He had been very careful about this matter. Sao Yiduo quickly said, Planet Tianyun? Master, I grew up on planet Tianyun, and although it is very big, I am very familiar with it, master. Could it be that you want to go to planet Tianyun and have me act as your guide? That is correct. Since that is the case, our deal can happen. Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding and took out a soul flag. This soul flag was the one containing Li Yuanfeng, the one he had personally made. With one wave, before Xiao Yuduo could react, Wang Lin put Xiao Yuduo inside the flag. With that, Wang Lin disappeared from the cave. This wasn't Tia's first time here, so he was very familiar with this place. He moved through the maze-like corpse sect toward the spot where he once cultivated. Along the way, not a single corpse sect disciple was able to detect Wang Lin. Even those that weren't tea cultivating were unable to notice Wang Lin as he passed by them. Just like this, Wang Lin soon arrived at the cave where he cultivated before. There was someone cultivating inside. This cultivator was a girl. She looked ordinary, but she had a determined expression on her face as she continued to absorb the yin energy coming out from the small holes in the wall. Wang Lin appeared inside the cave and took a look at the girl before turning to smoke and entering one of the small holes in the wall. When Wang Lin was still at the foundation establishment stage, his body couldn't enter the small hole. He could only enter with his divine sense, and it required a lot of energy. So he had to keep drinking the dew from the heaven-defying bead to slowly extend his divine sense until he reached where the giant was. After he was inside the small hole, before he even got far, a call came from underground. Save me. Wishing for the like button for the VIDEO, hoping to charge through the trending charts for the VIDEO this month. Chapter Save Me. This sound reached Wang Lin's ears and went directly into his soul. This was the exact same cry from before. He ignored the voice and quickly moved through the small hole. With his cultivation, he could quickly move to the hidden chamber through the small hole in the wall. Shortly after, Wang Lin arrived at a cave with countless small holes in the walls. He came in through one of these small holes. There was a giant coffin at the center of the cave. This coffin looked very ordinary and had no decorations at all. However, a powerful yin aura was leaking from inside it. This yin aura was turned into white gas which was being sucked away by the small holes in the wall. The coffin was completely empty aside from the giant hole in it. The yin aura was coming from this hole. Wang Lin didn't stop. He dove into the coffin. The yin aura here was very thick. It formed waves of yin energy that attempted to stop him from going deeper. Save Me, the call for help became even more eager as it came out from the hole and echoed in Wang Lin's ears. Wang Lin went into the hole. The deeper he went, the stronger the yin aura got. The yin aura circled around Wang Lin but wasn't able to get inside him. As Wang Lin went deeper, a mass of blue gas appeared before him. The blue gas seemed to have formed a door that sealed off the area. Wang Lin had encountered this blue gas before as well. Back then, he had to squeeze in from the side. However, now, the yin gas collapsed as Wang Lin smashed into it. Save Me, the call for help became even more clear the moment the blue gas was swept away. Wang Lin's body back then couldn't handle this yin energy. If he had made a mistake, the yin energy would have invaded his body and then frozen him solid. But right now he felt extremely comfortable as he smashed through all the doors formed by yin energy. When he was near the bottom of the hole, Wang Lin smashed through the last yin energy door and made his way inside. This was a very large cave. According to Wang Lin's analysis, it was roughly the same size as the plane above. At the center of the cave was a large cloud of white fog that released a powerful yin energy. This white fog took up 3/4 of the cave. Wang Lin's figure appeared in the air. His eyes lit up as he stared at the white fog. There would occasionally be flashes of ghostly light coming from within the white fog as the purple vines moved. The more the vines moved, the more white fog appeared. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He took a deep breath and blew out a breath of air. A gust of wind appeared and blew away a large amount of white fog, but the moment it was blown away, more appeared. Wang Lin remained calm as he let out a cold snort. He slapped his bag of holding and took out a celestial jade. He held it in his left hand while his right hand formed a seal. He pointed at the white fog with his right hand and whispered, "Wind, move!" A basic wind skill that could be used by Foundation Establishment cultivators was being used by Wang Lin right now. However, this spell contains celestial spiritual energy, so its power was beyond imagination. A gust of wind several times more powerful appeared and blew toward the white fog. This gust looked like a tidal wave quickly blowing the white fog away. Then it turned into a tornado and pulled in any white fog that got close to it. The fog was like falling leaves being picked up by a gust. All of the fog was blown away by the tornado, so what was hidden inside it was revealed. A large, naked, blue-skinned body was floating in the air. His skin wasn't rough like the ancient gods, but mirror smooth. The top of the corpse was covered in purplish-green plants. Every time the plants moved, the corpse would shrink a bit, but quickly recover. This cycle was creating the white fog. What shocked Wang Lin was that on the forehead of this giant was a faint axe that was flashing weakly. He was now confident that this person was the Giant Demon Clan's founding ancestor that had brought the Giant Demon Clan here. This person was the one that charged into the Forsaken Immortal Clan's army with the giant axe and killed 3 9-leaf shamans. Wang Lin now had a much better understanding of how the Forsaken Immortal Clan's ranking was done. Ignoring those below the 7-leaf stage, 7 and 8-leaf shamans were similar to soul transformation cultivators, while 9-leaf shamans were similar to early-stage ascendant cultivators. To be able to kill 3 early-stage ascendant-level cultivators was not easy, and let's not forget that he charged into the middle of the enemy's troops to do so. That kind of fierceness and battle strength was rarely seen. Save me, the call for help was even clearer here and continued to enter Wang Lin's ears. Wang Lin ignored the call. Instead, he took a closer look at the giant body. He could feel a powerful life force coming from the body, but there seemed to be a mysterious formation that stopped the life force from moving. As for the purplish-green plants, their roots were like sharp needles that pierced through the giant's body. They were absorbing his boundless life energy and turning it into yin energy. This wasn't the first time Wang Lin had seen this, but even now he was still shocked. This Giant Demon Clan ancestor's body, although it wasn't as strong as the ancient goddess, was several times stronger than Wang Lin's current 3-star ancient god body. It was comparable to a 5 or 6-star ancient goddess body. The Giant Demon Clan founding ancestor's cultivation level is indeed shocking. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. Save me, the calls for help became more frequent. It seemed like this Giant Demon Clan founding ancestor had noticed Wang Lin's presence. Wang Lin ignored the cry for help and instead landed on the giant body. The moment he landed, those purplish-green parasitic plants began to emit a sizzling sound. Shortly after, the plants began to move. Their sharp and bloody roots came out from the giant's body and pointed at Wang Lin. As this happened, the giant's body kept twitching as if it was in pain. Wang Lin coldly looked at the plants. Then he waved his hand and flames covered the area. The flames contained celestial spiritual energy, so the plants immediately backed away from them. He didn't want to harm these plants. With his experience, he could tell that these plants had a lot to do with the restriction inside this giant. If he destroyed the plants, he might mess with the seal and free the giant. Wang Lin didn't want to sit down with the giant and ask if he could borrow his blood. At the moment those plants backed up, Wang Lin slapped his bag of holding, and the celestial sword appeared. He swung the sword down on the giant's body. The sound of 2 pieces of metal scraping against each other could be heard, and sparks flew out from where the sword landed. A powerful pressure had suddenly repelled the sword. This force pushed the celestial sword back 3 inches, causing Wang Lin to exclaim in surprise. When he saw how easy it was for the plants to stab into the giant's body, he thought that it would be easy to cut it with the sword. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he looked around at the surrounding plants. He quickly got out of there with the celestial sword in hand. The surrounding plants let out sizzling sounds, then bolts of purple lightning came from within them and attacked Wang Lin. Wang Lin waved the celestial sword, causing all of the plants to retreat. He reached out and caught one of the plants and ripped it in half. As he examined one half of the plant, he saw a green liquid that gave off a rotten smell coming out from the tip. After grabbing a bunch of plants, Wang Lin pressed them down onto the giant's body. Then he heard a sound similar to the crackling of wood burning. Black gas immediately rose from the spot where the plant's roots touched, and then they easily went into the giant's body. Just at this moment, a powerful force came from the plants. They broke free from Wang Lin's hand and disappeared into the giant's body. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He looked at the surrounding plants that wouldn't dare to come closer and sneered. These tentacles are interesting. He touched his bag of holding and took out a jade bottle. He got this jade bottle by accident during his trip to the celestial realm. There was nothing special about this bottle. Its only feature was that it could hold a large amount of liquid. Its function was similar to that of a bag of holding. Holding the jade bottle in one hand, Wang Lin pressed his other hand on the wound on the giant's body. With some force, he pushed out blood into the jade bottle. Save me! Wang Lin was standing on the giant. This call for help seemed to be right next to his ear. It was very clear. Wang Lin continued to ignore the giant demon clan's founding ancestor. He wouldn't save someone who he couldn't control unless he had a reason. Once this person regains his cultivation, he will have no use for Wang Lin. And even if this person promised good treasures, it would be hard to attract Wang Lin. Aside from the blood he was here for, he didn't want to get into any unnecessary trouble. The blood came out drop by drop, which was pretty slow. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he looked at the blood vessel on the giant's neck. There had to be a lot of blood there. However, there were a lot of purplish-green plants covering the giant's chest. They were everywhere, leaving no place to get a foothold. Save me! I'll give you the giant demon clan's main treasure. The video schedule for first is up, and I ask all friends not to be stingy. Remember to share Leo. If you're capable, friends, please be prepared to support Leo with a like. Chapter 43, Old Friend. The centipede before him was 100 feet long. The poison it contained must have reached an unimaginable level. Wang Lin wasn't unfamiliar with centipedes. Many of the children caught centipedes to play with, and many used them to feed their chickens. Sometimes, they would accidentally be bitten by the centipede, but all they needed to do was wash the wound with a lot of water, then at most lay in bed for a few days and they would be fine. There was even a time where he collected centipedes for their poison. The doctor at the village said that if the centipede's poison was used properly, it could be used to cure illnesses. In the early days, his father couldn't afford to buy wood for his work, so he went up to the mountains to chop wood and let the cold air enter his body. This caused him to almost lose his life. At that time, the prescription made by the doctor contained centipede poison. Although his father's illness was cured, the illness left its roots in his father's body. Every time it rained, his father would be in a lot of pain. The prescription the doctor gave to help with the pain contained centipede poison as well, so Wang Lin had caught a lot of centipedes for his father. Until now, Wang Lin still remembered what happened back then. Looking at the 100-foot centipede, Wang Lin stroked his chin. If the small centipede's poison could help his dad's illness, then the poison from this centipede might just remove the root of the problem once and for all. But the centipede before him was simply too large, and Wang Lin was just too small compared to it. He was afraid that he wouldn't be able to get any poison and hurt himself in the process. Suddenly, Wang Lin remembered a method for obtaining centipede poison. This method was passed down through the generations. It was to make a pill to feed to the centipede. Once the centipede consumed said pill, it would spit out poison. Thinking about it, he stared at the centipede and walked toward the pill house. The pill house contained the most materials in the sect. He also hadn't seen Wang Hao in 4 years, so it would be good to check up on him. It was already getting dark when Wang Lin arrived at the pill house and saw Wang Hao carefully exiting from the side door. Wang Hao saw Wang Lin and gestured him to be silent. He motioned him to go outside. Wang Lin was stunned. He sent out his divine sense and found the R&D elder staring at the pill furnace with a serious expression on his face. After walking away for a while, Wang Hao saw that Wang Lin had silently followed him out. He grabbed Wang Lin and quickly ran. After running away for a while, he finally let out a breath. Wang Hao was short of breath. He warily looked toward the pill house and quickly asked, with a glint of hope, Wang Lin, I heard you went to the intense training 4 years ago. What layer are you at now? The 3rd layer. What is this? Wang Lin scanned Wang Hao with his divine sense and found that Wang Hao was already at the 1st layer, but the spiritual energy in his body was very strange. The spiritual energy wasn't flowing properly, but moving in an odd path. Every time the flow circulated through Wang Hao's body, it would take away a bit of Wang Hao's life essence from his organs and absorb it. In this state, Wang Lin was afraid that it wouldn't be long before Wang Hao ran out of life essence and died. Wang Hao bitterly smiled and said, You saw through it? Wang Lin nodded and said, Wang Hao, tell me what this is about. Wang Hao tightened his fist and said, While grinding his teeth, back when we went to the exchange, I always regretted not being able to get the Foundation Establishment pill. Later, Master Ba Lu Yuni gave me a Foundation Establishment pill to repay me for being his helper. I was very surprised at the time. He also gave me a cultivation method and told me that it was better than the one the sect gives. I didn't think too much about it and cultivated with it. Wang Lin took a deep breath and asked, "What? Let me see." Wang Hao took out a thread-bound book and threw it to Wang Lin. He continued, "But after I practiced it for 2 years, my body became weaker. Although I can manage to condense spirit power in my body, I can use it." Later, I secretly bribed a disciple to look it up for me and found that the cultivation method Lu Yunji gave me is called Fire Furnace Trial. Wang Lin opened the book and looked through it. The more he read, the more shocked he became. What was in the book was completely different from what was inside the 3 layers of QI condensation. Instead of using the spiritual energy to refine the body, it gathered spiritual energy into a swirl. This swirl would expand as one gathered spirit power, and it would soon be able to absorb the spiritual energy of the heavens and earth to refine the body from the outside, achieving something similar to QI condensation. In simple terms, QI condensation was to slowly refine the body from the inside, and the latter was a high-handed method. If one was lucky, the swirl would expand outside the body before the body collapsed and achieve QI condensation, and if not, then the body would be destroyed before the swirl expanded to outside the body. Wang Hao said, with his teeth grinding, this fire furnace trail cultivation method, the archives in the sect held some copies of this. It is said to have been obtained from the extinct country of Lu. Only 2 out of 10 cultivators would survive using this method. It's all based on luck. Wang Lin asked the important question, what benefit would Lu Yunji gain from all this? Wang Hao's eyes grew cold. He darkly said, he wants to use me as a pill furnace. When the disciple of the archives gave me the information, it was recorded that the moment someone dies from cultivating the fire furnace trial, if a certain method is used, a pill that extends one's life for 3 years can be created. Wang Lin took in a cold breath and thought that this third elder Lu Yunji was too cruel. Wang Hao's expression was bitter. He harshly said, I don't dare to talk about this with the other elders and the sect head. After all, I am Lu Yunji's helper. Under the sect rules, my life is no longer mine, but Lu Yunji's. If I knew this would happen, I wouldn't have agreed to be his helper. It is too late to regret it now. Lu Yunji found out that I know the secret and threatened me with my parents. Now, I have no control over my life. Every day I must take several QI gathering pills and the swirl in my body grows larger by the day. Based on my calculations, I only have about a year left to live. The VIDEO has reached first place in the ranking but still can't maintain the top position. Urgently wishing for all friends to push a round of VIDEO, Leo is extremely grateful. Chapter 438 Lei Ji. Even after hearing the word treasure, Wang Lin still remained calm. He had killed the giant demon clan ancestor and sealed the giant demon clan once. If this founding ancestor were to go free and found out about it, Wang Lin would be the first person he would go after. Wang Lin hadn't yet reached a point where he could fear nothing. Moreover, the giant demon clan's founding ancestor hadn't even said what the treasure was. Wang Lin looked at the plants on the giant's chest. Then he slapped his bag of holding and the restriction flag appeared. He hadn't used the restriction flag in a while after obtaining the soul flag. Right now was the right moment to use it. Wang Lin shook the restriction flag, causing ropes of restriction gas to appear. Then he shouted, "Seal!" With one word, all of the ropes of restriction gas turned into restrictions that glowed black. The restrictions moved like ghosts and landed on the giant's chest. Each restriction was like a large net that sealed the plants on the giant's chest. At the same time, he charged out and tore off one branch of the plant. Wang Lin was gentle when dealing with these plants to ensure that they would remain intact. Until now, he had only broken off 2 branches. With the branch in hand, he landed on the giant's neck. He felt a powerful life force coming from the giant when he touched the giant's neck with his hand. His eyes lit up as he pressed the branch down on the giant's neck to draw blood. Save me if you are willing to save me. I am willing to become your servant and mount. I'll also give you the giant demon clan's treasure, the heaven-opening metal. The call of help was even more real. Mount? Wang Lin trembled and the branch in his hand paused for a moment. Correct, I am willing to become your mount. Those powerful cultivators in the Cultivation Alliance like to use giant demon clan members as mounts. If you save me, I am willing to become your mount. The voice was filled with eagerness. After pondering for a bit, Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he pressed the branch down on the giant's neck. A black circle appeared on the giant's skin as the branch dug into the blood vessel and disappeared. At the same time, blood sprayed out. Wang Lin quickly pressed the jade bottle against the wound and collected all of the blood without missing a drop. The collection speed from before couldn't compare to right now. A large amount of blood was being collected in the jade bottle until the body began to twitch. The powerful life force followed the blood into the jade bottle. Why aren't you willing to save me when I am willing to become your mount? What exactly do you want in exchange for saving me? The voice was now a roar. Wang Lin's voice was calm as he collected the blood and asked, "Who are you?" "I am the giant demon clan's branch leader, Lei Ji." This voice was filled with a strong sense of pride. Wang Lin calmly asked, "Lei Ji, how were you sealed here?" "Because of the corpse sect. During the battle with the Forsaken Immortal clan, I was hunted by 2 11-leaf shamans and was heavily injured after I escaped. The corpse sect saw that as an opportunity, so they found a powerful cultivator from another planet and captured me and sealed me here while I was seriously injured." Wang Lin looked at the jade in his hand. He spread out his divine sense and found that the bottle had collected a large amount of blood. "You save me and I'll become your mount. The members of my giant demon clan 1T easily become someone else's mount, but once we do, we would never betray our master." Wang Lin asked, "Mount? What benefit is there to having a giant demon clan member as a mount?" At this moment, the stream of blood coming out of the wound was thinning, and the wound seemed to be healing. Wang Lin pointed at the giant's neck, then the jade bottle flew into the air and was caught by him. At the same time, his right hand, which was filled with celestial spiritual energy, descended and hit the giant's neck. A large amount of blood sprayed out once more and was collected by the jade bottle. "Do you know of the star compass? A giant demon clan member's body is similar to the star compass but much stronger. Our bodies are the best tools for traveling among the stars. Also, the giant demon clan member's bodies aren't affected by some places that cultivators can even go to. This is why those powerful cultivators in the Cultivation Alliance pay great prices for one of my clan members to be their mount." "Strange," Wang Lin frowned. Although this giant demon clan ancestor's voice sounded very anxious, the replies were very detailed. This point was very strange. It didn't match someone who was very anxious. It was as if everything was just an act. This person first offered to be a mount and to give him the giant demon clan's treasure. Then he began to answer Wang Lin's questions in detail and thus delayed for time. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he pressed his hand on the giant's neck. He used celestial spiritual energy, causing the giant to bleed even faster. "And my clan's treasure, the heaven-opening metal, if you save me, I'll give it to you. That is a treasure that is even more powerful than a celestial treasure." The voice contained a hint of temptation. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as he sneered and said, "What is the heaven-opening metal?" "It is a treasure that my giant demon clan's first ancestor left behind. There are a total of 99 pieces. Gather them all, and they can be used to create an ancient god's battle armor. Wear this armor, and you can have the power of the ancient gods from legend. If you save me, I'll reveal the location of one piece." As more blood was drained, the voice became weaker, but the replies were still very detailed. Wang Lin's smile became even colder. He was confident now that this giant was stalling for time. The giant was probably trying to do something. The longer he spent drawing blood, the more it benefited the giant. Thinking about this, Wang Lin decisively grabbed the jade bottle and jumped off the giant. At the same time, he waved his hand and the restrictions sealing the plants returned to the restriction flag. Without the restriction sealing them, the plants began to move once more. A few of them arrived next to the wound on the giant's neck, drilled inside and began to move around. "You save me. If you save me, I can make the giant demon clan members on planet Suzaku recognize you as their master." Floating in the air, Wang Lin's eyes became cold, and he whispered, "I can save you. Saving you doesn't benefit me. I'm not interested in any of the treasures you speak of, and leaving you here so I can gather blood at any time is for the best." The voice quickly said, "You must have great use for my blood. I have bone marrow essence. The energy from that is even more powerful than the energy from my blood. If you want, I can give it to you. I don't even need you to save me. Just send news of me to the giant demon clan, or the current Suzaku? How about it? Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He coldly laughed and no longer wasted time with this person. He turned into green gas and disappeared from this place. After Wang Lin left, the giant S body trembled and let out a roar. Only half an incense stick more of time. If that person had continued to drain my blood until there was only 1/3 of it left, it would have definitely lured out the main root in my body. Then I would have a way for my soul to leave this body. This person, S-roar, was filled with frustration. His closed eyes suddenly opened up. 2 lights even brighter than lightning flashed in his eyes. As he roared, his expression turned painful as the skin that covered his backbone began to move. Shortly after, purplish-blue thorns poked out from his spine. Rows of scary-looking thorns that were glowing purple appeared on his back. At the top of the giant S spine, a purple plant half the size of the giant S body came out. At the same time, it extended countless branches that slowly covered the giant. A purple flower, 1/3 the size of the giant, blossomed. It slowly drained the life force from the giant S body to grow. The giant bitterly roared, "Corpse sect. If I, Lei Ji, can break free one day, I'll never let this go." Wang Lin's body appeared inside the corpse sect. He pointed at the air, causing a soul fragment to appear. This soul fragment was the one he had left behind in the cave after he left to check out the situation. The cave had a mysterious power that greatly restricted divine sense, but it didn't have much effect on soul fragments. When Wang Lin pointed at the soul fragment, his eyes lit up and he let out a smile. Then he moved and disappeared from the corpse sect. Wang Lin appeared on the plain above the corpse sect. He suddenly looked to the north and saw a giant wave of blue gas coming toward him like a tsunami. Inside the blue gas tsunami, a boy wearing red was walking this way. This boy was very handsome. His face was as white as jade, and he looked very cute. However, his eyes contained a very fierce flame that was well hidden. This wasn't directed at Wang Lin. It was just how his personality was. He walked over step by step. Even the heavens and earth seemed to tremble under his feet. As the blue gas passed, all of the grass and clouds turned blue, creating a bright blue glow. "Ha ha, Wang Lin, what do you think of this old man's sinew body?" Urgently wishing for all friends to push around a video, Leo is extremely grateful. Chapter 439, Difference in Tao. Damn, after tens of thousands of years, I finally have a body again. Haha, after getting myself a body, I have to enjoy myself. Rumor has it that all the female cultivators on planet Fangluan are beauties. This old man has always wanted to go there. Once we leave this place, I have to go enjoy myself. Wang Lin, do you want to go? Wang Lin frowned. He looked at the boy before him and calmly said, "Not going." The boy was Situnan. After he possessed the body, he shortened his adjustment time by devouring the 4th ancestor. Although he hadn't completely recovered yet, his cultivation level was at the ascendant stage already. Situnan rolled his eyes and said, "You are too boring. All you do is cultivate. Cultivate? What farts are there to cultivate? Do you know why this old man began cultivating? Let me tell you. This old man cultivates to have all the beauties in the world, to steal all the treasures in the world, and get rid of anyone I don't like. This is why I started cultivating back on Planet 4 Saints. Otherwise, with how boring cultivation is, who would do it? When I reached the foundation establishment stage, I decided to give up on cultivation and secretly escaped to a small country with almost no cultivators. I became a lord there, partied every night, and had women serve me every night. That was the life. Anyone who I didn't like would be killed with just one spell. 10 years. I stayed there for 10 years. Situ Nan began to recall the past. He clearly missed those days. Wang Lin flew forward and calmly asked, "If it was that comfortable, why didn't you just enjoy the rest of your life there?" Anger appeared on Situ Nan's face as he answered, "You think I didn't want to? If it wasn't for some vicious core formation cultivator who came looking for trouble, I would have enjoyed the rest of my life there. That core formation cultivator chased me down, and I went through many hardships to finally escape. I clenched my teeth and continued my cultivation. This time I endured for decades and reached the core formation stage. Then I braced myself again to reach the late stage of core formation before leaving closed-door cultivation." Wang Lin laughed. He looked at Situnan and asked, "Then you went to get your revenge?" "What revenge?" That core formation cultivator had long been killed by someone else. After I came out of closed-door cultivation, I went to a rank cultivation country and continued my nights of partying and enjoying myself. Those foundation establishment female cultivators accompanied this old man all day long. There is no need to even talk about how good those days were. Also, I had a palace in the mortal world. I was in existence on par with the king. That little king was good. He always gave me good stuff to use. Even thinking about it now, I really miss it. Wang Lin rubbed his chin and laughed. Could it be that you met a nascent soul cultivator later? Situ Nan's eyes widened and he said, That's correct. Not even 3 years later. Some nascent soul cultivator decided that he wanted one of my foundation establishment female cultivators for a cultivation furnace. This old man couldn't beat him and had to run. This time I cultivated until I reached the late stage of nascent soul before I came out of closed door cultivation. After that, I went around rank 3 cultivation counties living the life of a king and enjoying all the beauties. Back then, a lot of fellow cultivators were very envious of me. Wang Lin laughed loudly and asked, What happened after? Could it be that you met a soul formation cultivator? Situ Nan let out a sigh and said, Bad luck. After only 10 years, I killed someone and angered a soul formation cultivator. I nearly died and was saved by the first generation Suzaku. He wasn't the first Suzaku yet, and that's how I met Yiwo. However, his cultivation level wasn't high, and he couldn't protect me forever, so I gave up my beauties and began to run for my life again. This time I learned my lesson. I went into closed-door cultivation to comprehend life, and reached the soul formation stage. I stayed in closed-door cultivation until I reached the late stage of soul formation. Wang Lin found Situ Nan's cultivation path interesting, so he asked, What happened next? What happened after was I got my revenge. I went to that mid-stage soul formation cultivator sect and killed him before going back to enjoying life. Unfortunately, this didn't last long, because Yiwu found me and asked me to go to the celestial realm with him. So we went and gathered a lot of celestial jades, and then I reached the soul transformation stage after going into closed-door cultivation again. I originally wanted to go find a cultivation country and continue to live like a king, because at that point, not many people could bother me anymore. This old man didn't want to cultivate anymore because it was too boring and I wanted to live the rest of my life enjoying myself. But that old, thick-skinned Yiwu said that if I wanted to play, then I should play outside of Planet 4 Saints. We were going to create a rank cultivation country where I could play any way I wanted to play. I wasn't thinking straight at that moment, so I fell for that old thief's trap. Damn him. For this dream, this old man cultivated endlessly and went all over the place with him. Finally, in the end, he became the leader of all the sects in the country of Suzaku, and the two of us raised a rank 4 cultivation country step by step into a rank 6 cultivation country. Both me and him were successful in reaching the ascendant stage, and were given this shitty planet by the Cultivation Alliance. This old man was really looking forward to having some fun on this planet Suzaku. Unfortunately, the Forsaken Immortal clan was here. The Forsaken Immortal clan dared to steal from this old man, so how could I let them go? At that time, war covered the planet, and the sky was dim. The Forsaken Immortal clan had a few good women that this old man took and had my fun with. Later, Yiwu sacrificed himself along with some old friends to seal the Forsaken Immortal clan. At that time, I was very depressed, and was about to leave planet Suzaku to find a weaker cultivation planet to continue my life as a prince. Unfortunately, that old thief Yiwu even schemed against me in his death and made me the second generation Suzaku. What happened after that, you already know. My body was destroyed and I was forced to hide inside the heaven-defying bead until I met you. Now that I have my body back, I have to get revenge and then have some fun on planet Feng Luan. Then I'll find a cultivation country there and continue my life as a prince. Let me tell you, Wang Lin, cultivating just enough is fine. Life is something you should enjoy and have fun in. Situ Nan's eyes contained a hint of melancholy. It was as if he had seen through life. Wang Lin calmly said, My Tao and yours are not the same. His eyes were calm. He had heard about Situ Nan's life, and that was that. Wang Lin knew that he couldn't be as carefree as Situ Nan and enjoy life like that. From an unknown point in time, Wang Lin's heart began to chase after cultivation. He wanted to know what the end point of cultivation was. This was where he differed from Situ Nan. Situ had his own version of brilliance, and Wang Lin had his own pride. His pride was reaching the peak step by step, to stand above the world and understand the truth about the heavens. Situ Nan looked carefully at Wang Lin and felt that he never truly understood this child who he watched grow up. Especially now, he felt very unfamiliar toward this Wang Lin, but within this unfamiliarity there was still a hint of a familiar feeling. The reason he felt unfamiliar was because he had never seen this expression on Wang Lin's face before. It was pride in one's own Tao. Situ Nan hated this expression a lot because he had only seen this expression on one other person before, and that was the person he respected and hated at the same time, the first generation Suzaku. Yi Wu. In his heart, Yi Wu was like a big brother to him, an existence that was like a teacher and brother at the same time. Although Situ Nan was very proud, he cared a lot about the kindness others showed him, and Yi Wu had given him a lot. There were many things he couldn't say, but he remembered them in his heart. That's just why, even with his temper, even though he wanted to leave, one word from Yi Wu made him give up on the idea and stay to become the second generation Suzaku. In his heart, it was like he was guarding planet Suzaku for Yi Wu. From the first time he met Yi Wu always had the same expression that Wang Lin had right now. Even when Yi Wu died, his expression was still filled with pride. From the lowly disciple of a sect in a rank cultivation country until he was the sect master. Then uniting all the sects in the country to become the sect master of the entire country. Then he used a large amount of willpower to raise a rank cultivation country into a rank cultivation country. Then he did the impossible by raising a rank cultivation country into a rank cultivation country, becoming a rank cultivation country and being given a planet by the Cultivation Alliance. All of this was because he was Yi Wu. Without him, the country of Suzaku would still be an inconspicuous rank 4 cultivation country on planet 4 Saints. Maybe it would have already been destroyed. At this moment, Situ Nan saw the same expression on Wang Lin's face. His heart was filled with complex emotions before he let out a sigh and said, "Forget it. It is too early to talk about this right now. The most important thing now is to send you into the Suzaku tomb and take back your piece of soul from the cultivation planet crystal. Wang Lin, the Suzaku tomb is surrounded by the mysterious power of the cultivation planet crystal, so aside from the current Suzaku, no ascendant cultivator can enter. Only soul transformation cultivators can enter, so I can help you this time. However, you can relax. Even if you fail to get your piece of soul back, I still have another way for you to get it back, but that method is very complicated and difficult. So it would be for the best if you could get it back yourself." Wang Lin nodded. He looked toward the country of Suzaku and calmly said, "The matters on planet Suzaku are almost done. Once I get the cultivation planet crystal, I'll leave the planet. Situ, the universe is very large. I hope we will have a chance to meet again in the future." With that, Wang Lin flew off into the distance. Situ Nan laughed as he caught up to Wang Lin and said, "It's too early to say that now. We can talk about it when we part ways. I believe we will meet again. If nothing goes wrong, I'll be a prince on planet Feng Luan." As they flew, Wang Lin suddenly asked, "Situ, what realm is above the ascendant stage?" Embarrassed, I've been remiss in saying thank you. Thank you all for pressing the like button. Thanks to the fellow Taoists for their praise. Chapter 440, Above Ascendant. Above the ascendant stage, Situ Nan stopped flying and looked at Wang Lin. Situ Nan answered, with a heavy tone, "The realm above the ascendant stage is not something most cultivators know of because there are simply too few people at those realms. The ascendant stage is a peak, and at the same time a door. Most cultivators are stopped at this door, unable to continue their cultivation before their lifespan reaches its end. However, once you break through that threshold and touch the next realm, your lifespan will increase by countless folds. Although it can last as long as the heavens and earth, it will increase by a lot. I gained some understanding of the next realm before escaping into the heaven-defying bead, which is why I was able to survive for tens of thousands of years in there. But this doesn't mean that my life is infinite. If my time comes and I still haven't made a breakthrough, I'll still die. It's just not that there hasn't been people who have managed to escape the heavens reincarnation cycle, but most of the time they are low-level cultivators. It is simply too difficult for those who have reached the ascendant stage to escape the reincarnation cycle. The heavens reincarnation cycle produces different amounts of power based on the cultivator's cultivation level. This is why I said that low-level cultivators have a much easier time escaping the heavens reincarnation cycle, with the premise that there is a high-level cultivator helping them. Wang Lin nodded. He recalled when he helped Li Muan fend off the heaven's messenger. Situnan took a deep breath and revealed a hint of regret. After the ascendant stage are the 3 realms of nirvana shattering. Wang Lin's eyes lit up. The 3 realms of nirvana shattering. That is correct. The first generation Suzaku Yu Wu told me about the 3 realms of nirvana shattering after he got the rewards from the Cultivation Alliance. If he hadn't told me, then I wouldn't have known until I became the next Suzaku. Situnan sighed as he recalled the past. The 3 realms of nirvana shattering. The first realm is Nirvana Scryer, second realm is Nirvana Cleanser, and third realm is Nirvana Shatterer. Wang Lin took a deep breath, then he frowned and asked, what about after the 3 realms of nirvana shattering? Is that the peak? Situnan shook his head and said, how could it be so easy? The 3 realms of nirvana shattering are only considered the second step for cultivators. However, someone at the nirvana shattering stage can be considered a powerhouse in the Cultivation Alliance. People are rarely willing to mess with them. Rumor has it that the old monsters in the Cultivation Alliance have even managed to break through past nirvana shattering. Wang Lin pondered a bit. Then he looked towards Situnan and asked, are you a nirvana scryer? Situnan bitterly smiled and said, how could it be so easy? There are 2 thresholds between the ascendant stage and becoming a nirvana scryer, which are the yin-yang cleansing stages. The yin-yang cleansing stages involve a change in domains. It is not the same as it going from non-corporeal to corporeal, but a deeper understanding. I can explain it too much, but only after your domain has gone through the yin-yang cleansing stages can you become a nirvana scryer. Before I was forced to hide inside the heaven-defying bead, I touched the border of the yin cleansing stage. Although I wasn't able to cultivate while trapped, my understanding of my domain had increased, so I completed the yin cleansing stage. Once I have gone through the yang cleaning stage, I will only need to find a place to go into closed-door cultivation to become a nirvana scryer. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he asked, what cultivation level is Zhukizi at? Is he also at the yin-yang cleaning stages before nirvana scryer? A hint of disdain appeared in Situnan's eyes, and then he said, him? Late-stage ascendant. I'm afraid he will not even be qualified to reach the yin-yang cleansing stages, so there is no need to even think about him becoming a nirvana scryer. However, he is considered a very special kind of ascendant cultivator. Although he is still weaker than cultivators at the yin-yang cleansing stages, he is not someone a normal late-stage ascendant cultivator can match. Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he said, the Suzaku seal from the Cultivation Alliance. Situnan revealed a hint of appreciation in his eyes, and slowly said, yes. He is a titled Ascendant Cultivator, and can be considered a top ascendant cultivator because he controls a special technique from the Cultivation Alliance. Yi Wu obtained a powerful technique after coming back from the Cultivation Alliance called the Suzaku Seal. It is very powerful, and would have been amazing if not for the fact that it costs lifespan every time it is used. Unless an ascendant cultivator has comprehended the yin-yang cleansing stages, then they will find it difficult to match the current Suzaku. However, the techniques given by the Cultivation Alliance are also ranked just like celestial treasures. The Suzaku Seal is only a low-quality technique, but it still greatly increases the power of whoever is holding the title. Unfortunately, the Suzaku Seal can only be used once you control the Cultivation Planet Crystal. Once you control both, your strength will increase by a lot. The Suzaku tactic that each generation of Suzaku learns is what the first generation Suzaku Yi Wu managed to learn from the Suzaku Seal. Not only does the Suzaku Seal increase cultivation speed, but once you have the Cultivation Planet Crystal, it will increase the compatibility between you and the crystal so that you can reach the strength of a title ascendant cultivator faster. Wang Lin pondered a bit. His eyes lit up and he asked, you said earlier that celestial treasures are also separated in ranks? Of course. Celestial treasures that require celestial spiritual energy to use are split in low, mid, and high quality. Situnan's eyes became serious as he said, there is also a rumor that there is a rank above celestial treasure that is very powerful, and one has to be at least a nirvana shatterer to use it. I think the heaven-defying bead is that kind of treasure. Wang Lin touched his forehead. He pondered a bit and then took out the celestial sword. He looked at Situnan and said, check what rank this sword is at. After seeing the celestial sword, Situnan's eyes lit up. He waved his right hand, and the sword flew to him. He held the sword and touched it with his left hand as he slowly analyzed it. Wang Lin was very calm. He trusted Situ Nan a lot, or else he wouldn't have let him check the celestial sword. Shortly after, Situ Nan suddenly opened his eyes. He filled the sword with celestial spiritual energy, which caused it to glow. This glow was more than several times more powerful than when Wang Lin used it. Situ Nan whispered, "Good sword." He casually swung it with his right hand. Boom! 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 A series of heaven-shattering explosions came from the air. Then a very large, rift-like wound opened up in the sky. Fierce cold wind came out from the rift, and in the blink of an eye the entire ground was frozen over. Good sword. Situ Nan touched the sword. He turned his head toward Wang Lin and asked, "Where did you get this sword?" "The celestial realm. It belonged to an old friend." Wang Lin's eyes were calm the entire time. "This is a mid-quality celestial treasure. Unfortunately, the sword spirit inside it can't completely merge with the sword, so its power is limited. In addition, this shouldn't be the only sword. I could feel that something was missing when I swung this sword. There should be 4 swords. Once they are combined, they will be like a high-quality celestial treasure. Unfortunately, once a celestial treasure reaches mid-quality, they have a soul mark. This is not the same as our souls, but a technique to use a treasure. Without it, we can activate its full power." Good sword. Situ Nan liked it so much that he almost didn't want to let it go. Mid-quality celestial treasure. Wang Lin slightly frowned. He thought that it would be a high-quality celestial treasure. Situ Nan's eyes widened and he said, with dissatisfaction, "What? Is a mid-quality celestial treasure not good enough for you? In the entire universe, there aren't that many mid-quality celestial treasures, and cultivators can only refine up to low-quality celestial treasures. Almost all of the mid-quality celestial treasures now are from back before the celestial realm collapsed. A large amount of the celestial treasures that cultivators have are low quality. There are very few mid-quality ones. Once you leave here, you will see how rare mid-quality celestial treasures are. Just one is enough to start a war." Wang Lin's expression slightly changed. He thought back to the celestial realm when he saw Sword Saint Ling Tianhu and some old freaks fight over the celestial swords like crazy. Those people's cultivation levels were definitely beyond ascendant, so Situ Nan's words had a certain amount of logic to them. Mid-quality celestial treasures are already rare, but high-quality celestial treasures are even more rare. This old man has cultivated for a very long time, and even traveled to a few cultivation planets, but I haven't seen a single high-quality celestial treasure. "You sure are lucky, brat," Situ Nan snorted. Situ Nan raised his head and asked, "Do you have the tactic for this sword?" Wang Lin pondered a bit, and said, "I had some clues, but unfortunately, I wasn't able to find it." Situ Nan quickly asked, "Oh, tell me about it." Wang Lin shook his head. "Things of the past. There's no need to bring it up." Situ Nan smiled. Then he looked at Wang Lin and said, "How about gifting me this sword?" Wang Lin looked at Situ Nan and asked, "Are you being serious?" Situ Nan hesitated a bit. Then he let out a sigh and threw the sword back to Wang Lin. "Forget it. If it was someone else, I'd just steal it. But if it's your things, this old face would feel too embarrassed." Wang Lin smiled. He caught the sword and said, "This sword isn't mine. Otherwise, gifting it to you would be fine." Situ Nan snorted and said, "If it wasn't for the fact that this old man's bag of holding was gone and I had nothing right now, I wouldn't care for it." This old man had 2 low-quality celestial treasures. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he said, with a smile that was not a smile, "Zhukezhi has a lot of celestial treasures. Not only are all of Zhukezhi's celestial treasures low quality, they were also all gathered by the first-generation Suzaku. I feel too embarrassed to steal them." Situ Nan revealed a look of pity. "Situ, what quality do you think this treasure is?" Wang Lin pondered a bit. Then he slapped his bag of holding and the beast trap appeared. He threw the beast trap, causing the god-slaying war chariot to appear before him. The soul spirit on the chariot quickly appeared with its fierce eyes open and began to roar. Situ Nan was startled when he saw the chariot, but then his eyes started shining brightly. Feebly asking, 4,000 words, does that count as a major chapter? Could it be hoping for the like button for the video and the followers too? Chapter 441, Zhukezhi's Madness. 1. Situ Nan said as he stared at the war chariot, "Celestial treasure. Although it is a low-quality celestial treasure, it sets one of the most powerful low-quality celestial treasures. Extremely close to mid-quality. Little brat, how do you have so much good stuff in your hands? If this spirit beast was a bit stronger, it might be able to raise it to a mid-quality celestial treasure. Low-quality Wang Lin's eyes lit up. He had 3 war chariots, and this one was the smallest. The other 2 were both stronger, especially the last one. I have seen some ancient records about celestial treasures that use beast spirits. These can only be produced in the celestial realm, and after the celestial realm collapsed, these treasures almost went extinct. Unfortunately, although this is a low-quality celestial treasure, it requires a special technique to use like mid-quality celestial treasures do. To use it by force can unleash its full power. What a pity. Sichunan let out a sigh. He truly admired Wang Lin right now. Although this brat-esque cultivation level wasn't as high as his, he sure did have quite a few treasures. Back when he was at this cultivation level, he didn't even have a single celestial treasure. Wang Lin looked at Sichunan, took out a piece of jade, and after recording some information on it, he threw it to Sichunan. Look at this. Sichunan caught the jade. When he checked it, his expression changed greatly. He looked at Wang Lin and said, "This is the technique to control this celestial treasure?" "That is correct. Using this technique allows you to control this god-slaying war chariot. I can even promise that this technique was left behind by the creator of this celestial treasure." Wang Lin nodded and looked at Sichunan with a smile that was not a smile. Sichunan put away the jade, let out a mischievous smile, and said, "Are you planning on giving me this god-slaying war chariot?" Wang Lin's expression remained the same as his hand formed a seal and pointed at the war chariot. A ray of black light flew from the chariot toward Wang Lin. "Why would I not gift it to you?" Wang Lin grabbed the beast trap and put it away. Sichunan was about to get revenge, and if he didn't have any treasures, Wang Lin would be a bit worried about him, so he decided to give Sichunan the war chariot. With Sichunan's new body and the war chariot, his quest for vengeance will go a lot smoother. Without the beast trap controlling it, the beast spirit let out a roar as it wrapped around the war chariot and quickly escaped. Sichunan laughed as he quickly chased after it. "Don't he run? Come and play with this old man!" The 4 armies of the Forsaken Immortal clan covered the skies of the north, east, west, and south parts of the Suzaku continent. In the eastern army, the 5th ancestor's eyes became cold. He waved his hand and softly said, "The 3-month wait is almost over. The day of the country of Suzaku's destruction is about to arrive." The moment he finished talking, he immediately started moving along with the huge black cloud behind him. His target was the center of the country of Suzaku, Mount Suzaku. At the same time, the other 3 Forsaken Immortal clan armies moved and started the last attack on the country of Suzaku. The 2 giant reincarnation trees on the Suzaku continent began to glow brightly, and then 2 shining ancestral spirits walked out of them. These 2 ancestral spirits both had 10-leaf plants on their foreheads. The moment they appeared, they also rushed toward the country of Suzaku. On the country of Suzaku's side, the 4 defense lines were immediately forced to retreat. This was a large war, so the entire Suzaku continent was trembling as the sound of countless spells echoed across the land. Zhuge was currently standing on top of Mount Suzaku. His red robe was flowing in the wind along with his white hair. He stood there completely motionless. Chu Yuanfei had left. The ascendant ancestor from the Shattered Earth sect was hidden away in closed-door cultivation. Right now, the only ascendant cultivator in Suzaku was Zhuge. His figure revealed a hint of sadness and loneliness, but even more so, a hint of madness. "Cultivators of planet Suzaku, I am the current Suzaku. All of you no longer need to defend. Let the Forsaken Immortal clan come. Qianfeng and Liu Mei, the 2 of you come here." Zhuge's divine message swept past the entire Suzaku continent. All of the cultivators that were defending let out sighs as they heard this and scattered as they ran for their lives. Without cultivators stopping them, the 4 Forsaken Immortal clan's armies charged toward the center of Suzaku like violent storms. If one were to look from above, they would see the entire Suzaku continent being covered by 4 giant black clouds that were quickly closing in on the center. Zhuge had his hands behind his back as he looked at the blue sky and said, "Everything will be decided." Shortly after, 2 figures flew in from the distance and stopped next to Zhuge. They were Qianfeng and Liu Mei. Qianfeng was wearing a black robe and his eyes gave off an evil aura. He silently stared at Zhu Zi with a gloomy expression. Liu Mei was still beautiful. She looked like a fairy with the white silk robe she was wearing. Right now her eyebrows were tightly knit, but she also remained silent. Zhu Zi's figure contained a trace of loneliness as he said, with a heavy tone, the country of Suzaku Kenti fend off the Forsaken Immortal clan. Qianfeng, Liu Mei, the two of you will go through a life or death trial today. Whether you two live or die will depend on your luck. At this moment, the black clouds closed in like raging tsunamis. The black cloud from the east only had one person, a middle-aged wearing a gray robe who looked like a scholar. With one step, he arrived, feet away from Zhu Zi. Zhu Zi, I am the Forsaken Immortal clan's fifth ancestor. Another person walked out from the western black cloud. This person looked very young, and his whole body was covered in tattoos, except his tattoos weren't black but golden. If Wang Lin was here, he would recognize this person at a glance. This person slowly said, the Forsaken Immortal clan's junior master greets Zhu Zi. 3 people walked out from the southern black cloud. The 3 of them closed the gap in one step and stopped 1,000 feet away from Zhu Zi. 2 of them were in an illusionary state. They stared at Zhu Zi but didn't say a word. The other person was a woman. She was very beautiful, and her eyes contained a hint of charm. She looked at Zhu Zi, let out a smile, and said, this little girl is the Forsaken Immortal clan's third ancestor, and these 2 are my clan's ancestral spirits. From the northern black cloud, Xianxia walked out. He whispered toward Zhu Zi's senior apprentice brother. Zhu Zi suddenly turned around toward Xianxia and asked, should I call you Xianxia or second ancestor? Xianxia shook his head and said, forget about it. Senior apprentice brother can call me whatever you wish. All of you have come. The only 11-leaf shaman in the Forsaken Immortal clan. First ancestor, you might as well come out too. Zhu Zi's eyes sparkled as he looked into the sky. A ray of 5-colored light gathered in the sky and a transparent figure slowly took form. The figure descended slowly and said, Zhu Zi. This first ancestor looked extremely ordinary, yet with just one palm, he had scared Chu Yuanfei away. This power was similar to that of a late-stage ascendant cultivator, and to some degree even surpassed it. Xianxia said, in a heavy tone, senior apprentice brother, our goal isn't to destroy planet Suzaku but to find a way for us to coexist. If you promise to hand over the cultivation planet Crystal, we can stop this war. We'll split the planet in half and never bother each other again. Zhu Zi let out a laugh that contained a hint of mockery and said, if it wasn't for the fact that you all were afraid of me destroying the cultivation planet Crystal, you would have already attacked without wasting time on all this nonsense. Arrogant. The fifth ancestor's eyes lit up as he hit his forehead, and a tattoo appeared. He pointed at the tattoo, he spat some blood on it, and shouted, seal! The tattoo immediately began to glow blood red and smash toward Zhu Zi. The fifth ancestor knew that Zhu was powerful. This was only meant to test the waters, so he didn't move closer. Zhu Zi's eyes became cold and he sneered. It seemed like he wasn't going to react, but then a golden glow appeared around him. Cracking sounds came from the tattoo as cracks appeared on it, and then it shattered shortly after. At the same time, the fifth ancestor's expression changed and he quickly backed up. At this moment, a bloody dot appeared on his forehead, and blood started to drip out of it. The first ancestor frowned and arrived before the fifth ancestor. He reached out and took out a golden needle. However, the moment the needle appeared, it disappeared without a trace. Zhu Zi's expression was gloomy as he moved. His speed was too fast, so fast that besides Xianxia and the first ancestor, no one even saw what he had done. Suzaku seal, attack! Zhu Zi's ancient voice came from the void. When he reappeared, he was already pointing down from the sky. The sky darkened as a large amount of the flames appeared around his body. The flame covered everything within 1,000 feet of him, and the ground began to show signs of being scorched. Aside from Xianxia and the first ancestor, everyone quickly backed up to avoid the impact of the flames. At the same time, a fire phoenix came out from Zhu Zi's body. It let out a screech before it closed its wings and descended toward the ground. The first ancestor charged into the sky. His body started releasing a black glow, then he raised his hand and pointed up. A mysterious 11-leaf plant suddenly appeared on his forehead. One of the leaves fell off and floated toward where he pointed. Leo dreams of getting a lot of likes for this video. having many followers, plenty of shares, and everyone praising his good reading and the number of words he can read. So happy. Chapter 442, Jukizi's Madness, 2. The fire phoenix let out a roar as it passed right through the leaf and the first ancestor and charged toward the fifth ancestor behind them. Its speed was too quick, so the fire phoenix landed on the fifth ancestor in the blink of an eye. Boom! After a loud bang, the phoenix disappeared and the fifth ancestor let out a miserable scream as he started burning. 3 breaths later, the fifth ancestor died. Jukizi's face was pale and a deathly aura appeared around him. The Suzaku seal consumed the user's life force when activated, and with his current lifespan he could only use it twice. After using it one more time, he will die. Once a target has been locked onto by the user's divine sense, the target of this Suzaku seal can T-change. It didn't T-harm the first ancestor, but it almost instantly killed the fifth ancestor. If it were locked onto the first ancestor or Yunkizi, the Suzaku seal wouldn't have killed them with one hit, but it would have injured them. This was why Jukizi didn't target them, and instead targeted the relatively weak fifth ancestor to get an unexpected kill. The first ancestor stared at Jukizi and said, "Word for word, Jukizi." The fifth ancestor's death didn't seem like a big deal to these people. None of them showed any anger. Yunkizi calmly said, "Senior apprentice brother, you still have one more of those left. However, after you use that one, your life force will be drained. I gave you 3 months of time, so I assume you have thought clearly about all of this. Either you sacrifice every life on planet Suzaku to wipe out my forsaken immortal clan, or you listen to my suggestion and we split the planet in half. I need your answer." A hint of madness appeared in Jukizi's eyes, and he laughed. "My dear junior apprentice brother, based on your understanding of me, what do you think I'll choose? How about we play a game? If you win, then I'll give you this planet, but if you lose, your forsaken immortal clan can die along with all the cultivators on this planet." Yunkizi's eyes were calm as he said, "Oh, tell me about it." Jukizi laughed like crazy. His eyes became cold as he said, "The cultivation planet crystal is in the Suzaku tomb. Any soul transformation cultivator can go in there as he wishes. If you guys can find it in time, then I'll blow up the cultivation planet crystal. Either the cultivation alliance wipes out your forsaken immortal clan when they come to investigate, or everyone that was born in this planet after the country of Suzaku took over will die." Yunkizi let out a faint smile and said, "The cultivation planet crystal contains the soul pieces of every single cultivator on the planet. If you destroy it, brother, your disciples will die with you." With that, he casually looked at Qianfang and Liu Mei. After Qianfang heard this, his eyes revealed a mysterious light. He looked at Liu Mei and noticed that her eyebrows were knit even tighter. "This old guy has a lot of secrets. I didn't know the cultivation planet crystal had such a use." Qianfeng's eyes became cold. "Life and death is all up to fate. Qianfeng and Liu Mei, this old man will give you 2 a chance to go retrieve your soul pieces. If you can retrieve them, you can live. If not, you will die. Don't blame me." After Jukizi finished, he waved his hand, causing his hair to start moving without any wind. Then he chanted something and coughed out a mouthful of blood. Shortly after, a red light flew out of his body and took the shape of a red, heart-shaped crystal. The madness in Jukizi's eyes became even stronger as he shouted, "Break!" The red heart-shaped crystal began to crack. More and more cracks appeared like it would break at any moment. At this moment, all of the cultivators of planet Suzaku, no matter where they were, even the ones that had long left the planet, everyone who hadn't broken past the ascendant stage felt their hearts tremble. From the rank 6 country of Suzaku down to the rank 1 cultivation countries, even the mortals felt pain in their hearts. This kind of pain came from the soul. It was something that no one could resist. Even cultivators that specialized in the soul could only make the pain lessen slightly. The cultivators who were running away, the cultivators who were healing, and the cultivators who weren't sure what to do in this situation all felt the pain in their souls. They felt like they would collapse if there was a bit more pain. If this feeling had lasted a breath longer, it could have driven someone insane, and a sliver more would have killed them. Among the mortals, from the kings to the commoners, everyone on planet Suzaku trembled. This pain didn't take anyone's status into account, nor it care about whether they were mortals or cultivators. As long as you were born after the country of Suzaku took over the planet, you couldn't escape it. All of the plants, animals, and demonic beasts felt like the world was about to collapse. Even all of the forsaken immortal clan members that were rushing toward Mount Suzaku on the Suzaku continent felt this. Although what they felt was a lot weaker, they still felt like their lives were in someone else's hands. It was as if one squeeze would end their lives. The cultivation planet crystal was more powerful than anyone had expected. Even Zhuge felt like he was going to die. At this moment, he seemed to have understood something. So this is what the cultivation planet crystal from the Cultivation Alliance is like. At this moment, the pursuers stopped chasing and the people escaping stopped running. Everything on the planet seemed to have stopped. The air was filled with heavy breathing and fear. Yunke also felt this pain. It caused his expression to slightly change. Although he had long thought of this, his heart still trembled. The third ancestor's expression changed even more. Her face was extremely gloomy and her teeth were clenched. Although the first ancestor's expression remained calm, his heart felt bitter. The Forsaken Immortal clan shouldn't have come out this early. They should have listened to Yunke and solved this matter in a more gentle fashion. Grooming the next Suzaku and secretly controlling the planet was the best way. However, it was too late now. Next to Zhuge, Xianfeng's expression changed greatly. He now looked at Zhuge with anger. Only Liu Mei, who felt depressed, was looking into the sky and still hadn't said a word. The madness in Zhuge's eyes dissipated a bit. They were now showing a bit of clarity. However, the clarity quickly disappeared and he laughed like a madman. The cultivation planet heart hasn't completely shattered yet. It is shattering bit by bit. The cultivation planet crystal will collapse when it completely shatters. Yunke, the game starts now. Let's see if your Forsaken Immortal clan can get the cultivation planet crystal before it breaks. If you can get it, I believe you have ways to prevent it from breaking. At that moment, this old man will give you planet Suzaku. However, if you can get it or don't have a way to stop it from breaking, then you can all die with this old man. With that, he waved his hand and all of Mount Suzaku began to rumble. Due to this violent rumbling, dust was kicked everywhere and the earth below trembled. Under this heaven-shaking rumble, Mount Suzaku split in half. A dark passage was suddenly revealed before everyone. I have opened the Suzaku tomb. Yunke, this game starts now. You know the rules of the Suzaku tomb. Any cultivators under the ascendant stage can enter and ascendant cultivators can Zhuge's eyes were filled with madness. The first ancestor was looking at the slowly shattering cultivation planet heart. He was about to attack when Yunke shook his head and whispered, "It's useless." The cultivation planet heart and Zhuge have been fused into one for a long time. He doesn't even need to take it out to make it shatter. He did all of this to put pressure on us and make us watch our deaths come. Even if you were to take it, we would have no way of stopping it from shattering. I am confident that with how crazy he is right now, he will destroy the cultivation planet crystal. If it was 3 months ago, he probably wouldn't have even given us this game as a chance and directly caused the cultivation planet crystal to explode. Now that he had time to think it over, he gave us this rare chance. Alas, if you guys had listened to me, we wouldn't be stuck in such a dilemma. The moment Mount Suzaku split in half, Xianfeng was the first one to charge into the Suzaku tomb. Liu Mei pondered a bit before letting out a sigh. She was the second person to enter the tomb. Yunke's eyes lit up, and he looked around. The Forsaken Immortal clan's junior master pondered a bit before walking into the tomb as well. At this moment, the clouds in the sky churned as a large number of Forsaken Immortal clan members appeared from within the black clouds. Several people flew out from the clouds. They seemed like they already knew of the matter ahead of time. Without a word, they entered the Suzaku tomb. One of them was the 8-leaf hunchback old man who hunted Wang Lin before. After 3 days, the news of the Suzaku tomb opening spread across the entire planet. The news of the cultivation planet crystal also spread like wildfire. At the moment, the most important thing to all cultivators was to go to the Suzaku tomb to retrieve their own soul piece. All of the cultivators from across the planet rushed toward the country of Suzaku to go into the Suzaku tomb. However, the Suzaku tomb had a special restriction set by the cultivation planet crystal. Once it exceeded a certain number of people, no more could enter. Although a lot of people wanted to go inside, the number of people that actually managed to get in was very small. Zhou Wutai was one of the people that went in, and along with him was the woman who was always wearing a veil, Zixin. On the fourth day, Wang Lin and Situ Nan arrived at Mount Suzaku. Zhuge Zi had disappeared, leaving behind only the cultivation planet crystal, which was slowly shattering. Yunke Zi and company were also not there. No one knew where they had gone. A large number of cultivators and forsaken immortal clan members were sitting around Mount Suzaku looking at the entrance to the tomb. At the moment, none of them were interested in fighting each other. Wang Lin looked at the passage at the foot of Mount Suzaku and slowly walked over. 3,000 words in a major chapter. Wish that the like button for the video would break. You are listening to a completely free audiobook on the Leo Audio YouTube channel. If you enjoy the story, please like the video to motivate the channel. Support Leo with a cup of coffee through the description link or on the screen. If you want to hear any other stories, just comment and let Leo know. Thank you very much for watching the video. Chapter 443. Who is this person? Most cultivators on the planet were gathered in the country of Suzaku right now, and they all had one goal: enter the Suzaku tomb to retrieve their soul piece. The limit of the Suzaku tomb caused a lot of powerful cultivators to gather here. Although they were mostly soul formation cultivators, there were 16 soul transformation cultivators as well. The 16 of them surrounded and completely blocked the entrance. These 16 were close to the country of Suzaku, so they got here within a few days, but even so, they were too slow and missed the chance to enter. Before they arrived, the number of people that went inside the Suzaku tomb had already reached the limit. The only way to go in right now was to wait for the people inside to die. If one person died, one more person could go in. Among the 16 soul transformation cultivators, only one of them was at the late stage. 3 of them were at the mid stage, and the rest of them were at the early stage. These 16 people were scattered around the entrance of the Suzaku tomb. All of them had their gazes locked onto the entrance. If there was a green flash and a ripple appeared, that meant that someone inside had died, and another could go in. With these 16 people waiting, none of the surrounding people dared to get close. They were all waiting for these 16 to go in before fighting over who had the right to enter next. After all, entering this place meant that they would have a chance to retrieve their soul piece. For a chance to save their own life, everyone on planet Suzaku was willing to give it their all. The higher their cultivation level, the more true this was. Wang Lin's figure closed in from the distance. He was wearing a white robe that made him look very calm. Along the way, Situ Nan had told him everything about the Suzaku tomb in detail. However, Wang Lin wasn't very confident about this trip. The Suzaku tomb seemed several times more dangerous than he originally expected. Situ Nan gifted me a jade that allows me to leave the Suzaku tomb. So I should only have a problem if I don't manage to get to the cultivation planet crystal and retrieve my soul piece from inside it. Although Situ Nan has a way for me to not die, not only is it very difficult, but my soul will be missing a piece. This will affect my future cultivation. Wang Lin's figure slowly closed in. The cultivators around Mount Suzaku were either chatting with each other, silently cultivating, or thinking about something else. The moment Wang Lin arrived, some cultivators raised their heads to look at him. Their eyes lit up, then they quickly lowered their heads and made way. There were a lot of cultivators around, but whenever they saw Wang Lin, their expressions would change slightly, and they would move out of the way. Wang Lin walked past the cultivators one by one when a very arrogant voice came from the front. "Stop!" The moment the voice came, the cultivators scattered while Wang Lin continued moving. 1,000 feet away from Mount Suzaku sat 5 cultivators. No cultivator dared to get within 100 feet of these 5. Among the 5 were 3 males and 2 females, and their ages varied greatly. There were 2 young women, 2 young men, and an old man. The 5 of them were all at the peak of the late stage of soul formation. The old man even had a strand of celestial spiritual energy inside his body. He was clearly ready to refine his body and reach the soul transformation stage. However, he didn't have enough celestial jades, so he had only refined a small portion of his body. But even with just this, it made this old man much more powerful than normal soul formation cultivators. The person who shouted was a young man who was sitting next to the old man. This young man was very handsome and was filled with a noble spirit, but if you looked closely at him, you would see hidden intentions in his eyes. Normal people wouldn't be able to see through this, but Wang Lin, although he still looked like a young man due to the dew from the heaven-defying bead. was an old monster who had cultivated for hundreds of years. He was able to see through that person at a glance. As he calmly looked at the young man, he continued to walk forward without even pausing. The young man's eyes were filled with caution as he walked up and shouted, "Fellow cultivator Don T, break the rules. My teacher was here first. Once those soul transformation seniors have entered, it will be our turn. Since you came late, you should be in the back." Wang Lin's gaze landed on the old man with a bit of celestial spiritual energy in his body. The old man was wearing a black robe and looked like a skeleton. His eyes gave off a ghostly light that could shake anyone's heart. When he looked toward Wang Lin, his eyes became serious. It was as if he had understood something. "My teacher is the honored brutal Nanming." When the young man saw that Wang Lin's eyes were still calm, he called out his teacher's name. The old man's eyes lit up and he shouted, "Shut up!" While the young man was still startled, the old man stood up, respectfully clasped his hands toward Wang Lin and said, "Brutal Nanming greets Senior. My disciple was rude and offended Senior. I hope you can forgive him." With that, he quickly moved out of the way. The moment those words came out, the people around the old man were startled, but they quickly got up and respectfully got out of the way. Wang Lin nodded toward the old man as he walked past them, and then he came within 1,000 feet of Mount Suzaku. The moment he stepped foot in this area, aside from the one late-stage soul transformation cultivator 15 gazes gathered on him. "Teacher, what cultivation level is that person at? Could he be a soul transformation old monster?" Disciple wasn't able to detect a trace of celestial spiritual energy in his body, though. After Wang Lin left, the extremely arrogant young man sent a voice transmission to the old man. "Of course you weren't able to notice. Even I didn't notice until he got close. That person is not only at the late stage of soul transformation, but he has the kind of late-stage soul transformed cultivator who is just below ascendant cultivators. He must never be messed with. Only late-stage soul transformation cultivators can reach such a state where celestial energy flows naturally through their body and shows no hint of it." The old man sent a voice transmission back. The moment the 15 gazes landed on Wang Lin, their eyes all lit up. Shortly after, they all withdrew their gazes and began to ponder. They recognized Wang Lin as someone who was on their level and would be part of the first group of people to enter the Suzaku tomb. Wang Lin walked toward the foot of Mount Suzaku. He sat down near the entrance and silently pondered. Among the 16 soul transformation cultivators that were there, the only late-stage soul transformation cultivator was a middle-aged man. He was wearing a purple robe and looked extremely normal. He was sitting cross-legged with his eyes closed. An ancient sword was stabbed into the ground before him. Its golden tassel flowed in the wind. The two bells on the tassel were creating a crisp ringing sound. A small monkey with red eyes was sitting beside him. The monkey would sometimes scratch its head and scream at the entrance. At the moment Wang Lin sat down, the middle-aged man opened his eyes. His eyes were calm as he looked toward Wang Lin and said, "Sheng Niu." The moment he said that, the other 15 soul transformation cultivators were shocked and looked at Wang Lin once more. The name Sheng Niu was very famous on planet Suzaku. Almost every cultivator on the planet knew this name. If his battle with Red Butterfly hadn't caught the attention of the soul transformation cultivators, then the deaths of Li Yuanfeng and the giant demon clan ancestor definitely made them pay attention to him. Wang Lin's expression remained the same. He looked at the middle-aged man and asked, "Have we met?" The middle-aged man faintly smiled. He rubbed the little monkey beside him and answered, "We have not." Wang Lin no longer spoke and closed his eyes to rest. The middle-aged man's eyes lit up and he faintly smiled. "Fellow cultivator Sheng Niu sure has great willpower. You used the celestial refining method to wash away your mortal roots in one go. This makes you much stronger than people who have to wait until the mid or late stages of soul transformation to wash away their mortal roots. If anyone other than you as soul transformation cultivators look at fellow cultivator Sheng, they will think that you are at the late stage of soul transformation rather than the early stage. There aren't many people who use this method to reach the soul transformation stage. It's no wonder you were able to kill Li Yuanfeng and the giant demon clan ancestor." Wang Lin slightly frowned. He opened his eyes to look at the person and asked, "Is something the matter?" The middle-aged man shook his head and said, "Nope. I am resting, so please don't disturb me." With that, Wang Lin closed his eyes again. The middle-aged man's eyes became cold. Then he applied some pressure on the little monkey. The monkey immediately began to shrill and its eyes started glowing red. Just at this moment, the passage leading into the tomb released a glow and a green ripple spread out. This meant that someone inside the tomb had died and another person could enter. The middle-aged man frowned, then he glanced at Wang Lin before getting up and walking toward the passage. The red light slowly faded from the little monkey's eyes. Although its eyes were still glowing red, the light was several times weaker than before. The middle-aged man thought in his heart, Wang Lin, you don't recognize the current me, but I recognize you. We haven't met in a long time. The moment he entered the tunnel, he looked back at Wang Lin and revealed a creepy smile. Wang Lin's eyes lit up as watched the middle-aged man enter the tomb. He had never met this person before, but the creepy smile gave Wang Lin a familiar feeling. However, after thinking for a long time, he couldn't remember where he had seen this smile before. After the middle-aged man went in, the 3 mid-stage soul transformation cultivators stood up and rushed toward the passage. The remaining cultivators' eyes all lit up as they got up and rushed to the passage. A lot of people inside the tomb had died this time, so a lot more people could go in as well. Wang Lin followed them closely and also entered the passage. With a flash of green light, everyone before him disappeared. Then the green light flashed again, and one of the soul transformation cultivators was pushed out. He let out an angry roar as he went back to where he was sitting and sat down with his fists clenched. 3,000 words in a major chapter, hoping to be shared, hoping to get the like button hit for the video. Chapter 444, Scorched Earth Spirit. The entrance to the Suzaku tomb was in Mount Suzaku, but the tomb itself was another world. The Suzaku tomb was surrounded by the mysterious power of the cultivation planet crystal. Aside from the entrance at Mount Suzaku, there was no way to break in or out. Aside from being filled with majesty, every generation of Suzaku found that it was filled with mystery. This place wasn't this big when the first Suzaku planted the cultivation planet crystal. However, as time passed, or to be more accurate, as more soul pieces were added, this place grew as if it were alive. It exists within the planet and gradually grows. Now it has its own mountains and rivers, its own sky and earth. Anyone who enters this place for the first time is shocked. Wang Lin appeared somewhere on the edge of the Suzaku tomb. The earth here was scorched and strands of black smoke came out from the ground and drifted into the sky. The sky here was not blue. There was rainbow-colored lightning flashing up there, and large spatial rifts that would open up high up in the air. These powerful fluctuations caused the earth below to light up and darken. Wang Lin appeared on the scorched earth where strands of black smoke were rising up from the ground. Shortly after, Wang Lin's eyes lit up, and he looked into the distance. Situnan said that the Suzaku tomb isn't large and is split into the inner and outer sections. The center of the inner section is where the first generation Suzaku's tomb is located, and that's where the cultivation planet crystal is. But this place is far too different from how Situnan described it. My divine sense can even cover the outer section, much less find that altar. Wang Lin frowned as he squatted down to touch the scorched earth, and felt the heat with his hands. There is fire element within this earth. It doesn't seem to be caused by after effects of a spell or battle, but rather from a natural fire elemental spirit. Wang Lin's eyes lit up and he flew away. There is no one within 5,000 kilometers of me. It seems all those who enter are scattered across this tomb. Various thoughts flashed through Wang Lin's mind as he quickly flew into the distance. Just as he left, a pair of green eyes appeared in the ground. The eyes emitted a mysterious light as they looked at Wang Lin and then disappeared back into the ground. Wang Lin was quickly flying toward the end of the scorched earth, but then he suddenly stopped and backed up. Boom! A moment after he backed up, a pillar of blue flame silently appeared where Wang Lin just was. The blue flame was about as thick as a person, and it caused the temperature of the area to immediately increase. The heat wave created by this fire quickly pushed away all the smoke coming out from the ground. However, the black smoke was like a ghost. After it was pushed away, it changed directions and went into the blue flame instead of continuing to float up. At this moment, a strange scene unfolded before Wang Lin. All of the black smoke within 5,000 kilometers flew toward the blue flame. A large amount of black smoke gathered within the blue flame. Then it came out from the blue flame and took the form of tentacle-like things. As Wang Lin backed up, his eyes became cold. He slapped his bag of holding, took out the celestial sword, and slashed down without any hesitation. A half-moon-shaped sword energy formed and charged toward the blue flame like a fierce storm. At this moment, the black smoke quickly gathered to form a shield to protect the blue flame. Boom! An earth-shattering sound came from the shield as it collapsed. The sword energy shrunk a bit when it broke through the shield, and then it landed on the blue flame. A crack as thick as an arm appeared on the blue flame, and strands of black smoke came out from the crack. The blue flame moved, causing a large amount of black smoke to gather around it and seal up the crack. As more black smoke gathered, the blue flame began to change until it took the shape of a human. It looked like an 8- or 9-year-old child. Its entire body released black smoke, and its eyes were completely dark. It looked at Wang Lin and let out a happy smile. "Don't leave, play with me." Only a short period of time had passed since Wang Lin had swung the sword, and the flame had taken the form of a child. Wang Lin coldly stared at the child. He was able to tell at a glance that it wasn't some demonic beast, but the fire spirit that was creating this heat. Wang Lin coldly said, "Scram!" He flew past the flame child and was about to leave. "Don't leave." The child waved its right hand, and the earth before Wang Lin began to rumble. The earth suddenly rose, creating a 1,000-foot tall wall to block Wang Lin. Wang Lin frowned. His body suddenly disappeared, and when he reappeared, he was several tens of thousands of kilometers away from the scorched earth. The child floated to the edge of the scorched earth and looked at Wang Lin. However, it didn't take a step outside. It was clearly limited to moving within the scorched earth. The child's black eyes stared at Wang Lin. These dark eyes gave off a creepy feeling. It suddenly let out a roar, and then it jumped into the air with its arms open. A large amount of black smoke came out from its body. This black smoke was like a group of dragons. After it flew out, it entered the scorched earth. Rumbling sounds came from the 5,000-kilometer area of scorched earth, and the scorched earth began to slowly move forward. Wang Lin frowned as he coldly looked at the child. Without a word, he turned around and flew away. When the child saw that Wang Lin was going farther and farther away, it began to panic. It roared several more times as more black smoke came out from its body and dug into the ground, causing the scorched earth to move even faster. However, this couldn't compare to Wang Lin's speed. Seeing Wang Lin's figure slowly disappearing in the distance, the child's face was filled with hostility. It let out a big roar into the sky. Then its body collapsed into a ball of blue flame and went back into the scorched earth. The scorched earth began to tremble violently, and then suddenly it started expanding again. It wasn't moving this time. It seemed to be stretching itself into a line that moved forward at a frightening pace. As Wang Lin flew, his eyes became cold. He turned around and saw a line chasing after him like a dragon. At the front of this line there was a ball of blue flames with the child's strange eyes. "You recording death." Wang Lin didn't use celestial spiritual energy in that swing earlier. He took out a celestial jade and absorbed all of the celestial spiritual energy inside it. Then his eyes released a golden glow as he slowly raised the celestial sword. The celestial sword released a golden glow as it was filled with celestial spiritual energy, and then Wang Lin swung down. One swing of the celestial sword was like divine punishment. Its power was several times stronger than before. The sword energy moved faster than the speed of sound and quickly landed on the scorched earth that was charging towards him. Boom! The earth trembled, and at the moment the sword energy landed, cracks appeared on the scorched earth. The cracks quickly spread, and in the blink of an eye, the scorched earth was covered in cracks. Wang Lin whispered, "Shatter!" With a bang, the line of scorched earth was shattered, and dirt flew out in all directions. At this moment, a mysterious power came out from every speck of this scorched earth. Wang Lin's expression was strange as he reached out and caught a few specks of dirt. After checking them out, he turned around and quickly left. Shortly after he left, those specks began to gather once more. It didn't take long for the scorched earth to reform itself. The child looked toward where Wang Lin had gone and revealed a look of deep frustration. "Don't leave." The child suddenly turned around and saw a ray of light flying toward it. Joy suddenly filled the child's eyes. After leaving the scorched earth far behind him, Wang Lin's expression was very gloomy. He was now certain that the child made of flames was not a fire spirit. If it were a fire spirit, then that sword slash should have destroyed it, but that strike that contained celestial spiritual energy only made it collapse and did not inflict any injuries. Even the scorched earth wasn't damaged at all. The blow from the celestial sword only made it fall apart. The scorched earth was originally just grains of dirt fused together anyways. This place is very strange. As soon as that scorched earth shattered, I felt like each of those grains was a soul. Could those have been the soul pieces? Wang Lin suddenly stopped and looked back behind him. Tonight there will be 2 to 3 new chapters. Leo will do his utmost to make up for the chapters missing from the last 2 days.